before. Falling faster, I try to ignore. I see you, I see you. I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. Tell me this is real and it will never end. This is not what I came here to find. Memories show that I'm out of time. See a shadow, don't know if it's mine, but I see you, I see you, I see you, I see you, I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. Tell me this is real and it will never end. Way too many faces in the crowd, but I think that I see you. One too many days got me changing up the way that I need you. Now we're both at a bar, acting like it's not hard, trying to feel something different. Talk to somebody new, kinda wish it was you, kinda numb to the feeling. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months and I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Not that you're gone, I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Laying on my floor, thinking about all the things that we've been through. From 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, cause I know we're a mess every time we're together. Going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. I can't seem should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months that I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our lovely end of the week NECC broadcast. It is Overwatch Day, and personally, I think that is the best day of the week, at least if you ask me, myself, Tiny Shiny, and Twin Salty, because we have some collegiate teams that are ready to end their week on a good note, playing some fun Overwatch. Whether they win or lose, doesn't matter. We're still gonna have fun either way, and we're kind of getting into it now, Jesse. We've had a couple weeks under our belts. These teams are getting used to the swing of things. Of the semester's been going and are about halfway through the season.
Yeah, about halfway through, and throughout today, you got some teams that are really got some strong starts, and we got maybe a few teams that are looking to build some momentum as we enter the back half of the season. But especially this first game we got for you, man, this could be an early title contender here in this division of Division Two. Because we got New Haven versus Robert Morris Academy Red. Both teams off to a very hot start.
Yes, this is for our Division 3, if I'm not mistaken. So we're we're looking at like pretty high end too in terms of players, like high masters, grandmasters kind of range. Some might have hit top 500, which I know is the case for some of our players. So the level of the individual skill is certainly up there. But especially when you look at collegiate gameplay, mechanical skill, yeah, I'll get you to a certain point, but taking that time to develop with your team, which in a school setting, Jesse, can look a lot different than what you can typically see in other forms of esports gameplay. So we'll talk about a little bit more about those specific details as we get in. But in terms of overall format, our typical best of 5, right? But we do have hero bans and our map bans enabled. But this time it'll be Wu Yang, our newest Overwatch hero, will be available for selection the first time.
Yeah, obviously he wasn't available last week. There was an interesting bug going around, right? Like his healing had just ridiculous range for like no reason whatsoever, and it So it got pushed away for a little bit. That's kind of why we saw a lot of Lucio Kiriko last week. But now I want to see what these teams can do because he's fantastic. I won't lie.
yeah.
Well, super fun to play. You tell me I can just jump around and just, send little orbs at everybody and still heal. Like, it's Zed on steroids. It's fantastic. But he's also found a great place in the meta right now. So I'm really curious to see how these teams really want to utilize him now that he's back in action.
Yeah, it's really going to be one of those key playmakers, not only because of the ridiculous damage output, but the overall kind of, I'm watching over you from above and can kind of silently make these plays. So I'm very interested to see, especially in the support department, but we do have our rosters listed below. Also, I do want to point this out. I noticed a little bit of a theme for the University of New Haven Chargers. Despair, Blackout, and Night. I don't know why, but is this coordinated? This feels
Just so dark.
It is. Like, we're around Halloween season. It is officially October. We can start kind of saying that. It's a little spooky, so maybe a buff there. But seriously, the University of New Haven Chargers, a team that we're a little familiar with. We've seen them compete in some of their regional tournaments, have done exceptionally well there, consistently having podium finishes, and have continued to level up now in the Division 3 for this year. So again, both of these teams being undefeated, kind of facing off against each other in week 3, that's going to have a pretty big impact on when we start to look towards this postseason.
Yeah, again, this could be very early seeding for Division 3, obviously. It's them and then Endicott College, also 2-0, so we'll see how they do kind of in their game later today, but this could be a really early showing of who is going to be at top of the table at the end of the season. But of course, where else to start off, Molly? It seems like it's the new version of Kings Row. It's Lijiang Tower for our first map.
It would just feel wrong if we didn't go to Lijiang Tower.
would.
Like, I'm gonna be totally honest. You have to. It's a very good map for dive comps in particular if you want to play something fast, but it also, with the round control center, Brawl is available. I think the support comps will stay rather static throughout the majority of today, but in terms of tanks, in terms of DPS, we could get a little crazy. But in fact, we aren't going to see Wuyang. I'm sorry, we hyped him up for all that, and now he's just banned. So yeah, it'll be actually Robert Morris University taking that one away first, and the Malga on the other side. So something tells me, especially when you go to that control center, do not.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't blame them at all. I personally have a very hate-hate relationship with Maga. It's not even love-hate. It's just hate. So I'm perfectly fine with it. But as teams get ready here, Night Market is our first round. There's a certain here on Robert Morris Academy that I know you are very happy about. But we'll see if that actually sticks. New Haven. Going again with that dive you were talking about. Hazard still been sticking around, even though some slight nerfs, some slight meta changes. He's not a must pick as he was for a long time. But wow, the venture will stick here from Shin.
I like this, especially in partnership with the Zarya of Zekli. Venture, you burrow in for free. Shin can create all of this space, come up, do damage, and get out for free because of the bubble. So this is actually a really fun idea that Robert Morris University are starting out with. And because they have this early positioning on the point, it makes it even easier to fit and to find an entry. For now, though, the little burrower is going to play on the high ground and instead just focus these players. The problem is you wait too long to engage, and Big Warrior already found a dive onto the backline in Ret and Knight, helping clean up from afar. University of New Haven played that very well, not giving Robert Morris an opportunity to strike despite having the worst position.
Yeah, this is going to be the issue that Robert Morris have, is that their comp can be very static in its positioning. That's why you're already going to see the swap, right? Skalecki, they will swap off the Zarya onto the Diva, and that'll allow them to be a little bit more mobile. Obviously, Brett's still going to be a massive dive target, though, for Despair and Blackout.
Let's see how they're managing to do, because that's kind of what you're talking about. You want to have this hardy execution on these players, and since you're playing against a dive comp, catching someone like Blackout when he's attempting a dive, that's going to be probably the way to go. But University of New Haven just opted to go back and give up the point entirely. And without the Genji, there wasn't much of a reason for them to stick around. So you're going to play slow, come up to Knight's mat. I know, but look how much pressure Knight is under just from the venture as he's taking like these half steps backwards to engage. Zekli, though, learning from previous mistakes, not allowing University of Haven to move forwards first, instead just destroy Knight before he even gets a chance to crush the nano boost. Excellent decision making by Robert Morris.
Yeah, Robert Morris. I love that. Just go onto the point right away. New don't have the time to even contest. And then you're really keeping them at bay. It's a downside of his honor, right? Because you, of course, you love the nano, whether it be onto Blade here from Blackout, put on the big warrior to dive in. But it's a little bit more difficult to get them in position. You don't have a shield bash or, you know, a Suzu or a Swift Step to move them around. But now Big C looking to see if they can start this one off.
Ooh, that was a great block from Brett, but you end up getting your life for it, and you let go the Deadeye right in front of Blackout and Deflect. It went from bad to worse. University of New Haven, it looked great. Everything was fine. It actually might still be fine. Dexy really keeps Diva, essentially Thanos at this point. Managed to pick up two, but it's now a 1v3. It's looking a lot less likely because they can make it to the rush. It's a big painful here. Have to try to stall this point out. I mean, Dexy, you can either choose to try to sustain, but it seems like the University of New Haven, they're not going to re-engage with Scalar Fan dying without the beat. They actually get the flip.
Yeah, because the respawns from Robert Morris, they come in just a little bit faster. The downpour only catches on to the Diva. They get cleansed, and now Shin goes to work.
Shin is in, but how much? You kind of panic by pressing the Tectonic Shock, and you don't have any cooldown for damage to help back you up once you emerge. It is a 1-to-1 trade. Robert Morris still in control of the projection, but Dragon Blade on the other side. University of New Haven looking to slice some people. There's one on the attack. Happens to be Brett Bixby, ends up recalling to the wrong place at the wrong time. New Haven struggling for numbers. It's all Blackout taking it lights out. Robert Morris University. Wonderful play from the Genji, and honestly ended up saving the team when it was their only reason.
Yeah, New Haven stay alive. And now, yeah, Blackout goes absolutely crazy. Even though, yes, the Suzu gets baited out early, but Brett can't land the shield bash for the stun to allow all that follow-up to come afterwards. And now, also, we're at a net neutral. Everybody threw so many ults into that. Nobody has one soon. Big C's the only one maybe with that pulse bomb. You can see it being used relatively soon, but if anything, it's just going to be drawing out the Suzu from Knight. So, yeah, it's going to be very much a net neutral, and already Robert Morris is trying to position by point.
Robert Morris have been doing a great job of forcing this objective and choosing where these fights take place. Problem is they lose Brett so early on into these fights that they kind of have to send Diva in to make up for it. It actually comes up with a triple kill somehow, but it's far from over. With how scrappy this is, it's got to be a quick reset in the University of New Haven, but I don't even know if you have the time for it. Overtime is burning. Blackout might be able to get a toe onto the objective, but no, just a fraction of a second too late. It'll be Robert Morris taking round one.
Yeah, Robert Morris, they take round one, and that's just the efficiency of this, right? Like, immediately, every single fight, you know, New Haven, they'd kind of poke around when they were trying to push in. Robert Morris like, nah, we're just going to go to point. And we know that we have a better kind of comp once we just get onto the point and can really just spread out, right? And, man, Zalecki and Zakeli, man, I'm butchering that name today. My goodness. Just a fantastic play at the end. Like you said, you lose your Brig very early on in that fight. You can see already 4 deaths for Brett, only about 2 and 2,300 healing, but it didn't matter. The Diva just goes absolutely insane, finds 3 picks, and because of that, even though they have no supports by the end of the fight, Robert Morris are still able to win it out, and no changes as we go over to Gardens.
And at this point, I think these comps honestly work equally as well as they did. I wouldn't give the favor to one or another. Then I like the DPS comp of New Haven slightly better. You have more ability to control space. The cooldown rotations are healthier, so there's more uptime on the map. And you're just not diveable, because Big C, as you just saw, got annihilated because he decided to roll and like, oh, he can't move. Let's jump on him. So yeah, that's kind of what happens when you play Cassidy into a dive comp. University of New Haven, very prepared, knowing what their dive conditions sort of looks like, and took advantage of it early.
Yeah, and Big C immediately is like, all right, I'm off. Goes back over to the Tracer. Because, like I said, just so easily dive. Once you see the flashbang go away, there's nothing you can really do as the Cassidy. I'll say a big warrior. Great cactus throw as well, just to isolate Brett that time around. Couldn't even back up. And that kind of was the finishing touch for that fight, but now Despair in a little bit of a tricky spot, but gets out. Ish.
I didn't have recall. You're kind of okay, but Big C didn't quite catch the Despair on the other side. Doesn't really matter though. Ezekiel just kind of runs down. So it's all okay. The team has a Tracer very early down for. Quickly building up. Got Big Warrior. That's a fantastic way to get in the fight. If Blackout knows how to do one thing, it kind of gets these cleanup kills, which is exactly what you want out of the Genji players. When you give them the chance to pop off like this, they'll find like several final blows, and they're making this fight last as long as it is, Jesse. I mean, this is so much percentage that they're gaining.
Yeah, there's a little bit of slash and dash, and yeah, beautiful combination with the downpour, like you said, from Big Warrior. Pretty early ultimate. Not sure if Robert Morris were exactly thinking it was going to be online yet. And New Haven, they take complete advantage of it. Now, already, what, 65% and counting here for New Haven, trying to bring us to a map 3, a round 3, pardon. And they have both support elves, they have Blade, and everything you could want, and already Suzu gone.
Overwatch gun saw Despair panic through the Suzu just a hair too early, and both of the ports wiped off the face of the map. I mean, New Haven, this is just their ticket to winning the game. If you win a fight off of a pulse bomb alone, this map might just be over. You don't even make a Kitsune rush, and this is just to get stagger kills. If you can stagger out even one of these players, there's a chance, because Robert Morris University, they're the ones that are panicking. They're the ones that need to get towards the objective right now. So many ults dropped in this small room. They come away with the Brigitte, and that on its own, massive pick off. There's the Blade unsheathed once more from Blackout, but very few players left to actually swing at. Self-destruct, attempted to remake, but instantly denied. An absolute sweep of Gardens. What a turnaround from round number 1.
Yeah, what a turnaround indeed. Yeah, 100-0 for New Haven. I was a little worried at first about that Kitsune rush, but like, okay, was that a fat finger? Because we've all been there. Like, we've all been there. With especially that ultimate. But no, they just take full advantage of it. Dive right in, forces the beat and Kitsune rush to be used defensively from Robert Morris. And like you said, they're just trying to scurry over the point. They know they have to touch. They're able to get 1 or 2 stragglers who are trying to get over there. And from that point, they're going to win the 5v3 every single time. I'll say Brett is getting bullied. 3, 11, and 8 right now with not even 4K heals. A little bit of a rough start right now for the break. Is that Sigma?
Next to Sigma, all right. Okay.
I don't know the last time I've seen him on this map. I won't lie to you.
I don't hate it. I think it's
I
better.
don't hate it.
It seems that Robert Morris, they haven't run a Lucio or any form of speed this entire game. So I'm going to assume Brett just isn't comfortable on the skirts, which is nothing wrong with that. But then you're subject to just, like, getting one shot by Big Warrior because you're playing Brig into a very heavy dive comp and you don't have speed. It can work, but if you're not in a position or you're not prepared to get jumped at all times, Blackout and Big Warrior, they're just on that.
Oh my god. Blackout. Especially since the beginning of round 2, my goodness, has been all over the place. And already, yeah, the Sigma experiment is gone. Zakeli will go over now to the Winston. So trying to match that dive a little bit. We'll try and organize it here with Shin. But like you said, it's not as much their dives that is the worry right now. It's just protecting Brent so they can at least, you know, build up that Inspire a little bit, get some packs off, because so far, they've been, what, first blood at least 3 times.
It's more than that, and we're just talking this round in particular. Big C, though, does actually land a headshot onto Despair, so that's a good opening for Robert Morris to start moving forwards. You don't have the bubble from Zeekly, so you're a little limited on how much space you can actually control with these dives. Right now, it's just about forcing these players back. Another headshot from Big C. I mean, hey, it doesn't. Your position doesn't matter if you can just make your Cassidy hit shots, which Big C has no problem doing it for that fight.
Big C's been waiting for Control Center, like, please. Give me the rush map, please, just so I can actually run the Cassidy without getting completely dove on. I'm still 44% though for New Haven, not too shabby to start off, and now the ultimate really become part of the play. Big C, they have the Dynamite, but last time they used it over on, I believe it was Night Market, it got deflected back in their face.
Yeah,
so hopefully that does not happen again for their sake.
That brings back some memories, don't it? Oh, from a whole 5 minutes ago. Shin did not remember, apparently, what happens if you try to face check Big Warrior. Big C still ends up dying to Blackout during the Deadeye, so that's dead and gone. But, I mean, these dives are just so well executed between Big Warrior and Blackout. Like, I don't even have anything other to say than it just looks perfect.
Yeah, no, these dives have been just absolutely exquisite. Big Warrior especially. Them trying to use this jagged wall, going in, and immediately lining up the dash. They barely missed one, and, well, that didn't miss either. Despair shuts this fight down before it even starts.
Yeah, that was really good, too, because you could see how far Z3 was forward. Warp Force was in a good position, and suddenly, there's a pulse bomb stuck to my Ana, and our healing is gone. They have one more fight to regroup, Jesse, but it's gonna be a miracle if they can pull it through.
It will. And Pixie goes Widow for half a second. Just be like, all right, y'all need to chill. Like, y'all just need to back up. Give us some space here to move in. Goes back over to Cassidy. Shortly after, and already Blade popped. Hello.
Blade, and there was a sound barrier, but the sound barrier actually got blocked by the bubble. Great timing from Zeekly. Denies that buff and actually opens the door for Shin to get work done on this tectonic shock. The 2 eliminations over to the Venture, make that a 3rd for Shin. This is Venture's playground, by the way. We just have to be able to talk about it because it's been the big Warrior show so far.
My one worry with Robert Morris, they used everything. Or they used all 4 ultimates that they had available to them. I would have maybe wanted to see one stay. Because now the worry is, all right, if Big Warrior lands another big downpour, or if Despair and Blackout are at least nearby to kind of follow up on it, this map is wrapped.
Yeah, and at this point you're playing counter dive. You're not really collapsing on anybody.
No.
On New Haven, you are the dive comp here. You just gotta hope you live long enough. And Big C lands another shot. You remember, fight that we saw Robert Morris win last time was because Big C did just that. You see Shin go forward just a tad bit to force Big Warrior back, and we're gonna get to about 1 fight territory for the entire map.
Yeah, and all of a sudden this Deadeye starts turning back around here for Big C, but I expect Knight use the Kitsune Rush to enter in, and it's going to be a how can Robert Morris answer.
But the Kitsune Rush, it was blocked by their own hazard wall. They only got like a couple feet of it off. That's tragic, but it might not matter. Blackout already had the successful dive, followed up after downpour into the backline. Pulse Bomb goes a bit wide, but Despair live to see another day. Shin can't quite say the same for, so we have flipped for the University of New Haven. Can they manage to hold on? It is a 1-for-1. Big C will have this Deadeye up and ready to go, but Big Warrior into the backline yet again. That's both supports turned to dust, and it'll be the University of New Haven Chargers closing out Lijiang Tower.
First map goes the way of the Chargers, and after round 1, I don't know if we would have been saying that. It seemed like it was Robert Morris all day, but it just seemed like the Chargers needed a little bit of warming up. As, yeah, what a fantastic performance on the back half of Lijiang Tower, even though Shin had some pretty nice plays here on the Venture from time to time, including this nice little 3-piece, but yeah, it just was not meant to be over on Lijiang Tower. The Chargers take map 1, and now the power goes back into the hands of Robert Morris on where they want to go.
It does, and I honestly, this game in particular, it almost seemed like it was a bit of a warm up to kind of see what their opponent was doing, especially for the University of New Haven. Once they started to realize, like, hey, Brett is super diveable on this brig just by playing the hero, we can kind of just jump at them consistently. And because we're playing more of a counter dive situation where you can either choose that we're going to turn and burn whoever's jumping on our supports, or we're going to go in and try to trade it out, which while we saw Zico on the Diva, that was fantastic, right? We got a lot of trades in. That's why they ended up winning Night Market and had a lot of close fights. But outside of that, once they were unable to start making these trades because everybody became so mobile for the University of New Haven, that strategy didn't quite work, and then we eventually ended up in a non-dive map where you still tried to force a very divey comp that it just wasn't working out the way that they needed it to. So hopefully going ahead, especially with that map pick, I think that's going to be the key thing here for them, is to go towards a map that allows them to play these comps where they are not running like a Lucio or a Juno or some sort of mobility.
Yeah, but the worry is there. A lot of those maps are dive, and now you have a hazard to deal with. Which, granted, for one of the maps you can ban out the hazard, and, you know, that eliminates that issue entirely. But the rest of the time, what is the answer? Because if you feel, obviously, very comfortable running the Brigana, because even on, you know, Lijiang, which we don't really see it that often at all. If anything, we see more like the Kiriko and Brig, or, you know, the Lucio Kier or something like that. You might wonder, like, hey, maybe like a Watchpoint Gibraltar, if you really want to play more of the Winston, play more of the Ana Brig. But again, yeah, you have to have that hazard ban. Like, it almost feels like an absolute necessity. But then you're also leaving Tracer just right, and Tracer Genji right there for the DPS of New Haven, who just played phenomenally on following up with anything that their tank set up.
Yeah, and I think that was the focal point for me, was the big warrior synergy with Despair and Blackout, right? Those three were always where they needed to be. Sometimes you see Despair go off and do a 1v1, but it was always there on the same side. Did I see an Atlas pick? I did see an Atlas pick. I like this. Okay. Hazard Man, we did say that was kind of a must,
Yeah.
and we do agree. Big Warrior, that was Big Warrior's lobby, and this might not be Big Warrior's lobby. We don't know what else Big Warrior plays. We haven't quite seen it yet, but we're going to probably find out. And the Venture will also be taken away from Shin. I think it's one of those heroes that can be really frustrating to play against, especially when Shin had a clear idea of what to do, but if your team isn't ready to play around it, it can be difficult to work around. So, Atlas, we got Wooyoung back in, and Hazard is out. What is that Foley going to change for this map? Interesting. So Skylark Man will look towards that direction, but on a Brig, I'm not 100% sure about this one, just because we saw last game, even getting on top of these supports was a little bit too easy for Robert Morris.
Yeah, it was a little easy, and now well, I have a feeling I can't. Or say this Life Weaver, that's a choice.
Fun.
That would have been fun. That would have been fun. So you can see why that Maga ban, even though it seemed a little random on map 1, you can tell why it's here now. Exactly. We've gotten confirmation on the pronunciation. Apologies for the absolute butcher from myself on that name. But now they're running the comps that they like to run. It can be a whole lot of damage very early on. It's going to be a lot of pressure on Knight. Can they land these Suzus, whether it be for the Bio-Nades from Overwatch gun, or these dives that are going to come in from Zekli and Shin is already a Big Warrior needing to pop the Nemesis.
Oh, Skylark Man. Never mind. Perfect time. Suzu actually will keep him on his feet, but I can't quite say the same for Knight. User one get out of jail free card, and Zekli might be dead, but got a decent amount of value. Tank and support down for either side, yet Robert Morris University showing again they like that objective. They'll get that first capture, and Despair, you're kind of okay with this. You're a Sojourn, you want to poke in and even get low enough for Blackout to kind of pick the rest of them off, which he's doing shockingly well. Not a lot of health here left in Overwatch gun. Less than 50 per second. Barely managed to get over to grab a couple armor packs from Bredman. And this is looking a little dicey. It forces University of New Haven to get closer to this point, and even grabbing Shin here. So Robert Morris, they didn't have too much stability after all.
Yeah, because of the fact that there was so much, all the high ground was controlled by New Haven. So like you said, Despair just kind of pokes away, gets everybody low, so Blackout continues to play just excellent on this Genji. And just cleans up kills already, though, native on Zekli.
That is incredibly fast now, like sub 60-second nano. And yeah, that is sub-zero health Skylark Man. Unfortunate place to be if you are a Wooyoung player. Blackout's still a problem, though. I mean, Blackout simply should not be allowed to just go into the backline by himself and pick up an Ana or two every time. And the point's still being contested. Meanwhile, again, another pick for Blackout. This just feels illegal at this point. Somebody needs to get rid of this Genji. Eventually they do, but heavy commitment having to come out. They're at New Haven. Still think this is winnable. Putting both the Tidal Wave and Big Warrior's Annihilation into it, but they're all fish in a barrel. But in the cage of Zekli, a wonderful read on that. It looked like a losing situation, but Warrior said,
That Tidal Blast from Skylark, man, perfect. Because Zekli's trying to burn down Big Warrior. You add that extra over health, not only keeps your tank alive, but also kind of shuts down everything that Zekli was trying to do there. And now 99%, Shin tries to delay, but gets completely shut down.
Without the Reaper here, the big source here damage. Big C, as we know, the Deadeye, oh my god, got down to 1 HP. It was terrifying, and this time the Sleep Dart. Make sure they can get rid of Blackout. The Deadeye shall live. It's a change of pace, but is it change enough? Despair holding this overclock on the high ground. They have no choice but to keep crosshairs just to contest the objective. But for Mauga, Zekli is health pool for days. Can't quite say the same for New Haven. They're kind of backing off. Shin Return has been pressuring this sort of flank angle, but off by himself for the most part. New Haven, they don't really have a clear direction of where they're holding or what they want to do. It's only now when they land that shot on Despair they can start to kind of breathe out and reset.
Yeah, but as we say that, Blackout finds two. Hello.
Okay, so basically what we've learned is it's not over until Blackout says it's over. That's two, potentially a third, unless they deal with this Genji right now, which will happen thanks to Zekli sitting on his head. Very rude of him, but yeah, University of New Haven, they have another Annihilation. Shocker! Are they going to win this fight? Probably. They have all the cooldowns that they could want. The tank is completely out of the way. Big Warrior has not a fear in the world, especially if one measly Reaper. Shin does have Depth Blossom. I highly doubt we're going to see it. Yep, there we go. And Robert Morris University, it was a close one. It was scrappy, but Big Warrior and Blackout, they're just a force to be reckoned with.
I would say Blackout right now in Big Warrior has got to be my joint MVPs. We'll have to see how like the rest of this series plays out, but man, Blackout just pulls out fights where there is no right for the Chargers to even be remotely competitive in it. As we go over to the second flashpoint, obviously, this Manga has been giving them some issues. If you're Big Warrior, they have to play a little bit more timid. They have to really plan out when they want to push in because this Manga, especially where they pop that cardiac overdrive, it's just so hard to get any, consistent damage in. You almost have to play super passive.
I think that's honestly a passive. I don't think it was a miss. It was almost to block off the Kitsune rush and also keep Zeko there alive, just with the amount of pressure they were under. That one actually ends up getting some value. It's 3 ultimates though out of Robert Morris, and I wouldn't even say they're out of the woods with Big Warrior and Blackout still on their feet. Never mind, there goes Blackout. It's still looking a little dicey with the Malga or eventually forcing the Ramantra back. Now you can say Robert Morris have a bit more firm control at this point.
Yeah, now they can just play this choke point. It's not like the first flashpoint where, there's a few different avenues you can really try and attack, and there's a lot of high ground. There really isn't here in, wow. Well, hey, first, the Galaxy Hammer. Love it. The Torb is an answer, but honestly, that tells you how much pain Blackout has been causing this team. We just need the turret. Even if it gives us just a rough idea of where this Genji is, we need any advantage we can possibly get.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the turret's the end of the world. I mean, everybody on New Haven has some sort of like pokey range that helps, but we'll have to kind of see how this plays out. I'm kind of looking at Overwatch Gun, where this Manal's gonna go. Onto the Malga once again. What can Zeko find with it this time? Ooh, that's clears the space for Big C. That's what it does. My goodness, 3 kills over to the Cassidy, and now just the chase is on for Skylark Man, who will probably end up getting staggered. This is just going to be another sweep of a point. Massive turnaround from the previous objective, Robert Morris. They completely denied Blackout, even forced to swap to Hanzo.
Yeah, so the Genji off the board because of how many counters have gone in to try and silence them out. So now New Haven, they will try and play a little more of the range game because obviously Zekli has been doing really well, especially that second point. You're going to see running all over the place, really causing some issues here for the Chargers. So they're going to try and stay away. Obviously, both supports can do a lot of damage at range. Both of your DPS can do the same. So this is going to be what kind of early pickoff can you find at this sort of range. But if you can't find it, it's going to be Zekli trying to close that gap.
Comps, I never thought I would see an Atlas, maybe totally
No.
honest, but I'm here for this. Not built to be a poke map, but we're going to make it that way. That is the message that's being sent. We'll have a cage fight coming online for Zekli here. That's what I'm most interested in seeing. Spear's slide was kind of forced out pretty early too. But this Deadeye, I mean, there's just not a chance. Big Warrior to survive in a cage all by himself. It's either you gotta send your whole team in or just sacrifice one of the wolves. Unfortunately, it was your tank in this case. Zekli does bite off a bit more than they can chew. Don't really think it matters though. Robert Morris have way too much poke damage to deal with.
Yeah, no, this is still completely one fight by Robert Morris. But yes, they're going to play a little more passive with Zekli coming back. And yes, obviously, they have the charge, but still takes a little bit. You can tell New Haven are sitting here like, so what is the play? Because even though, they're trying to play at long range, they're trying to find the opening pick. Robert Morris is playing a great job of playing angles, not really allowing them to do anything or get any great angles until they basically get to point, and that's where Zekli can really do some damage.
I mean, Big Warrior does not want to be anywhere near Zekli, but even the times we get to those fights, which have been rare, Big C has really been stepping it up on this map in particular. Several opening picks, like the one you see on to Despair, trying to use the Tidal Blast to get back into it. The wave actually goes off just before Overwatch Gun can step out of the range. Big commitment from the University of New Haven, but again, it's Big C. That's 3 final blows now for the Cassidy, single-handedly lifting this team back into the fight. That is a second .1 solely off of the work of that Cassidy.
Yeah, Big C, welcome back to the game, my friend. Map 1 kind of got shut out, but man, Atlas, all Big C so far. More changes coming out now from New Haven. Knights over to the Ana. No Kiriko right now for Robert Morris, so that could actually have some insane value. Also, the Zarya paired with the Reaper. The Reaper, yeah, it's gonna make Zekli's life hell, especially early on. As soon as that cardiac overdrive is gone, it's going to be the Reaper in there right away. And that's why you really have the Zarya as well. You can just throw the bubble on the Reaper when they're pushing in, so you don't have to worry about their health. They can get a few extra parting shots off before they try and back out.
Very classic combo for Big C, putting the pressure on the high ground. But again, same issue. You just can't stand this poke damage, especially with the nano going out onto Zekli. Overwatch Gun has been building this incredibly fast with the amount of damage that Robert Morris, more specifically the Mauga, has been taking. Cage Fight goes out just to ensure the fight is won. And yeah, there you go. Robert Morris, they look unstoppable right now.
Yeah, no, you can tell why New Haven banned Mauga during that first map, because it has just been domination here from Robert Morris ever since the end of round 1. And now you look at for New Haven, like, they gotta be just looking at this like, what in the world are we supposed to do? Obviously, the overclock ready to go. They almost find Big C early, but just is able to get out in time.
The Molten Core to at least zone off most of these entryways. Blackout's like, I don't even know where the heck to go. There's just lava everywhere. Like, saw him turn like
it's
5 corners. Like,
safe?
where is it safe? Where can I go? But yeah, no, you can eventually go through. Oh, a barrel off the map. What in the world did I just witness? All I know is both the Anas are dead, and Zekli is off in La La Land, which is a bit more of an issue. This time, no, Skylark, man, gets stomped on.
Is that
saw
it?
Zekli run back from the backline. I think that's just it, Jesse. They ran through them too fast. University of New Haven, they couldn't work with any of the new heroes they got. They just won too fast.
Yeah, Blackout, even though they were about to have the Death Blossom, it goes over to the Tracer to try and
Wow.
touch, but yeah, wow, Robert Morris playing fast, and it earns him a map win.
Alrighty, this is the power of Hero Band, people. You have Mauga in the gameplay. Robert Morris University are one happy team. I mean, we gotta talk Big C, though. This was a massive step up from him in particular. Lijiang Tower, it's difficult to run the hit scan, especially into where you are the most diveable character on the team. So, understandable we couldn't see him do much, but on this map was really able to step it up for himself. Not only just landing the shots, but working with the space that we saw Zekli start to create in that game. We saw Shin adapt to a lot of these. And also, the backline just looked more comfortable having a Mauga to stand behind, like a solid pillar, instead of something that's always moving around where you're trying to chase. That really worked out for Robert Morris. And I'm kind of happy that we get to have this series on our hands now. But of course, Jesse, this changes because Hazard's going to be back in the game. You now have a target on the back of the Cassidy. Like, there's so many things that can change going ahead.
Yeah, this series also got way more interesting after map 1. Like, map 1's like, okay, New Haven, they look really good. You know, this Mauga band, I'm not really sure what it's about, but, you know, maybe we'll see it later. Oh, yeah, we definitely saw it. Yeah, we definitely saw it, and it worked perfectly for Robert Morris. So, yeah, the question is, where in the world do New Haven go now? I would think maybe dive. Maybe it is the Gib pick now, or maybe like a a Dorado, you know, something like that, a Blizzard World even. Maybe like you take King's Row out of the mix, right? So they can't pick another rush heavy map if you do win map 3. Even though it's almost like sacrilegious to say we're not gonna.
I was gonna say,
King's
I
Row
honestly
during a
think they would
collegiate
pick
game.
King's Row just because it's King's Row.
It's just like, why not? Like it's
What's
King's
stopping you?
Row, like, why not? And we're almost to the point where we can, you know, throw on the snow over on the map. Have
No,
like
it is
Christmas
October.
themed.
It is October,
Jesse.
Jesse.
Hey.
October.
It's
It is
a
not
month
snow.
away from, you know, maybe starting. You know? Well, I live in northeast Wisconsin. We're gonna get snow in like probably a month. You know, like
Okay.
maybe this is
Yeah,
like
a
just the
month.
regional thought.
It's not even Halloween. We don't talk about snow until November. That's like a general rule, at least in the Midwest. I don't know
about
but
that. Yeah.
you can't, because then you're
Yeah.
gonna summon it, and then you're just gonna be digging yourself out for forever. But
That's very true.
but speaking of digging yourself out, I do want to see what the adaptation is here for the University of New Haven. It was very exciting to see that synergy with Big Warrior. It looked superb on the Hazard, but just could not find footing on any other tank on that map. So with that being back in the pool, we get to look forward to our map number 3 with a lot of the heavy bands out of the way. So we're going to send it to a quick break and come back with the remainder of our series. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few. 3 matchup has delivered so far this evening, as we are currently tied at 1-1 between Robert Morris University and the University of New Haven. We get ready for map number 3 here. You know, we've seen most of our very polarizing bans so far in the series. The Hazard, the Mauga, we saw the Venture come out. With those now out of the way, things start to get a bit more interesting. Teams can start playing their best compositions that they've been wanting to so far. But I think the big thing we have to note here, we have our rosters pulled up under our screens here. A player that we've seen pop off so far for the University of New Haven in Blackout has been subbed out for Jay Raynor from map number 3, which I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I'm very curious to find out because considering how well Blackout was doing, Jay Raynor must have some exceptional performance today to kind of keep up with what we were seeing from the Genji.
Yeah, you gotta think there's something in particular being cooked up right now.
Absolutely.
Because Blackout, granted, during the back half of Atlas was kind of shut down. It's gonna be Watchburn Gibraltar, so we kind of, thought that was going to be an option. So this tells me maybe they're just trying to keep maybe Despair on the Tracer, and they need a true hit scan player. And in that case, Blackout maybe isn't super comfortable with that and wanted to try something else, and they will ban out the Cassidy right away.
Ooh, okay.
So that kind of, blacks out Big C a little bit. Obviously popped off near the end of Atlas, so it's understandable why. But
yeah,
I, to a degree, don't agree with it, because this map is definitely longer range. I don't know if it's great, but again, it depends. If Robert Morris is still just trying to force this Maga comp, then that is a great call. You know what I mean? So it's a very weird place right now for New Haven to be in, to try and figure out what the best play is. And in response to Robert Morris, they will ban out the Kiriko. It's almost like trying to hyper force this Brig on a backline that they've basically ran the entire day.
Yeah, and I am interested for the cast ban. I don't think it's very useful, to be fully honest. The range just isn't it. It's too short. Things like the Freya of Despair are going to be much more lethal on this particular point. Despair is a hit scan player first and foremost, so I'm wondering if we're seeing that swap up for Jay Raynor to come in and potentially play the Tracer, the Reaper more for like a kind of counter dive, expecting maybe that Winston or the Mauga, which is kind of being teased. We have seen teams run the Mauga on attack before with the Sim TP, so I'm very excited to see how Robert Morris University can pull this off.
Yes, here we go. So they're actually going to TP to low ground. They all get slammed with a nade as soon as they do. So that'll create some pause here with no Suzu, but it's just like the Roadhog strat that we've seen from time and time again. Just trying to put some early pressure here on the high ground using that Sim TV, but instead, they're just going to stick it, well, until Overwatch gun dies.
Yeah, I don't think you can stay there when the rest of your team drops. Not against Big Warrior. Big Warrior is like sniffing out for lonely grandmas that don't have any friends at that point. So Big Warrior though, under a bit of pressure and on the front line, you do just have block, and if Hazard holds right click, you just say nope, goodbye your damage and goodbye Ezekiel's health as a result of it. You get halfway through the bridge. It's about this is pretty typical for Watchpoint Gibraltar, so seeing the swap now makes sense.
Yeah, no, you try it first fight. If it doesn't work, make the swap. No, exactly. Over on the D.Va, obviously way more mobility, especially vertically here, to try and give their team some high ground control. As you can see, just posturing for us. Shin's almost like being like, hey, when am I going to jump up? When am I going to do it? Eventually, just get out. And whoa, where did that pick come from?
It looks like a combination of a dive and also just some crossfire from Big C on Ignite. You do lose the Sojourn, but at the end of the day, especially since Shin got Skylarkman 2, there's no sports for New Haven. The alarm bells are ringing for Big Warrior, at least they should be. You are Hazard, so a ton of damage mitigation, and he's actually able to kind of just hang out here a lot longer than he should. There's zero way that Haven should be winning this fight, yet they are, because Despair and Jay Raynor took control of the server room where Freya and Reaper are particularly strong, so even with no healing, they still managed to make it work.
Exactly's just stuck. Eventually will get killed. They will not get the group spawn from Shin. And, well, actually, they might have. Actually, they did. Wow, okay. That must have been right at the deadline. But just under 2 minutes to go. No more great. They get it through one of the harder parts, right? They get it all the way through the archway. But now it's this final phase. This can be a royal pain for anybody. They don't have any ultimates yet, but they do soon, but want to sleep early on NECC, and already having to pop that mega health back.
There's the Tidal Blast. Big Warrior looking for the supports. And yeah, that's, or why did I say Tidal Blast? Because it was Tidal Blast and Nano Boost. There's a lot of blue effects happening.
A lot of blue.
All I know, Big Warrior, even bigger Warrior. So yeah, it ended up working out for New Haven. You do get a couple trades. This is what we saw Zekly do in map number 1 when the rest of the team just kind of dove. Zekly will send it and see how much he can kind of trade it out for. It's just not enough. Big Warrior is simply too powerful to be controlled in this instance. And yeah, another stagger can be on the table.
Oh man, this is just rough. And there's nothing Zekly can do. They
No.
kind of just have to sit there and accept it. And now, a minute left for New Haven. This is when you start getting a little bit more worried. Obviously, yeah, both support ultimates, like you said, completely gone from the defense, but they still have, well, the bullet shot, you know, is hit or miss, but they have the Death Blossom, and Zekly's off the Diva onto the Winston
Whoa.
for the last bit, so no defense matrix to eat that up.
No, not at all. And it goes wide, so it doesn't matter. In fact, you actually end up picking up the Despair. That's a rail shot from Big C across the map, but you don't have a tank, and without a tank, it's so difficult to initiate into this fight. They're putting all their eggs into the basket of Shin, knowing it'll be your last real chance at gaining positioning, but no cooldowns onto this venture. You could see that Big Warrior was over there kind of hunting for the remainder of these players. 10 seconds left to go. All hope really left into Big C, setting something up. Shin attempting to clear out the high ground, but I mean, your Burrow is forced out. The sleep hits mid-air onto the Winston. There's the tank completely out of the
They got
picture.
off!
They
They
just
got
don't touch
off!
the
Oh my
point.
god!
Nope, that wasn't even you got off. That was we just didn't touch the point. They were setting up the dive, but they couldn't get the one thing that would have kept the ground going.
See, I looked up, I'm like, okay, they're on it. It was like 5 seconds left. I'm like, okay, cool, they got somebody on it. Had somebody on it. Oh my god.
But we can.
I
look at
don't
this.
even know. I don't even know what to
Like-
say. My brain wasn't registering that was a
I didn't even look at it because I'm like,
there.
there's no way.
I thought, yeah, because I looked up, like, okay, cool, 6, 5, somebody's on it. They must have just got off before the 3-second mark and thought they still had overtime
Yeah.
start. Oh, that's just pain. Because they actually had a great start to that fight. They pushed Leon off high ground. They were about to get that elimination. They gained full high ground control. They had all of the setup pretty much ready to go.
Yeah.
And the one thing you cannot do, they did. And
Well-
that will shut down that attack very quick.
I mean, to be fair, most of that round they did at the setup, but they didn't have Big Warrior under control. I mean, nobody's been able to
Yeah.
put the reins on this guy. He's 12-0 right now. Also, Jay Raynor coming out of this Reaper 7-0. Like, that is just kind of ridiculous. So, this is just the Big Warrior show. He's back on a character that he can really show up on, and it seems to be the same way here. We'll be actually going over to the Winston, just the first part of this attack, and we're back to this Torbjorn Sojourn kind of deal we got from Atlas.
I don't mind the Torb as much here because, well, the Torb's range, and the Torb turret range is pretty insane. So even if you get a general idea of what's happening, it's great, but Jay Raynor's going to be pretty choreographed most of the time with where they want to go in. It's going to be basically around where Big Warrior is trying to tell you, Big Warrior is just getting absolutely bullied here by the door and just trying to get healed up, and it seems like it's been a net neutral eventually. Just has to use the bubble to get any sort of healing done, but as this is all going, Part is still moving forward. All of a sudden,
Nade.
there's only 20 meters away, and that nade will force a lot of retreats.
Again, pretty typical for Watchpoint Gibraltar. You kind of just are at a standstill while this payload moves to the first underpass. Eventually, Robert Morris University will stop just as the payload's starting to move away from the tunnel, but you don't have Big C. Jay Raynor is able to clear them out from, I'm assuming, what was the server room there, and Big Warrior ensuring nobody else can be stationed. I mean, their ability, we're seeing from the Chargers, to take these small micro amounts of space and force Robert Morris into uncomfortable positions has been stellar. I mean, they're just about to flat out wipe this team from the face of Watchpoint Gibraltar. What started as a close series turned into an absolute massacre here on the dive map. New Haven at match point.
Yeah, New Haven, match point behind the back of another Big Warrior performance here. They will get the play. I will say shout out to the LA Glad skid. Nice little Overwatch League flashback there, but yeah, no, it's well, this wasn't out there. This was about the 2-minute mark, and it just seemed like New Haven could do absolutely nothing wrong on this dive. You can see exactly why they wanted to run the dive, and now you gotta worry here for Robert Morris. Well, yes, you get the next map pick, but you need to win 2 in a row, and I got a funny feeling they won't let you go to another rush map in map 5 if they do lose map 4.
Probably not. I mean, we're looking at either push or hybrid now, if I'm not mistaken. So, with the rules that go into that, there will be one that you can take away. I mean, King's Row is probably your best bet. I don't think you're particularly comfortable with either of the push. I feel like they're about the same. But if we're specifically talking about the hybrid situation, that's where I would go, because I feel like that has a much bigger impact on your map point choice versus a push where they play similarly enough that it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, no, push is push at the end of the day, right? Like, yes, some maps are a little bit more divey, some maps are a little bit more rush heavy. Hybrid, you could have the complete polar opposites.
Yeah.
You can't run, theoretically, this Maga rush very well, typically, on Blizzard World, right? You are just going to get beaten to a pulp if that is the case, because the map is just so gigantic, and there's so many worries about high ground, and that would just be the absolute playground here for New Haven, if they got the choice. So I'm with you. I think King's Row is probably the very easy choice. And again, it's not like the Maga ban you have to worry about it anymore. That's out of the way. The Venture ban is also gone, and Venture's not too shabby here on King's Row. And the Cassidy ban's also gone. So many of these key bans in this composition are now something you don't have to worry about if you are Robert Morris. So it's more, do we maybe ban support? Do you want to try and ban out, maybe even, again, maybe like the Lucio to try and force, again, more of this, on a break that they've really been trying to use today?
Yeah, honestly, does it even matter if Big Warrior can play Hazard? Like, that's kind of the question that's going through my mind right now. He's getting too much done on this character.
Way too much done.
And at some point, again, it goes back to the idea of, are we turning and burning on this Hazard? Are we coming up with some sort of counter dive? Or are we trying to flat out counter this guy? Because there's not much else that can be done if somebody is going 0 death performances in these type of games. And it was like, same thing goes with the substitution for Jay Raynor. I mean, we had questions because of how good the synergy was with Blackout in that first 2 maps. Like, can Jay Raynor have that same synergy? Absolutely. It was fantastic when we got to see it on Gibraltar. Jay Raynor will be going back out again for Blackout, so that tells us that the Genji is also back in the field. So that's another potential ban that you have to worry, or you could consider here, just because I believe it's you lock your roster first and then you make that ban choice. So they are aware of Blackout being back into the mix. But right now, it is, how can we disrupt this excellent synergy we're seeing from the Hazard? And I think out of all of the maps you could have picked, other than a Hollywood, this would have been my last choice in terms of that.
What do they have cooking here?
Something.
I don't necessarily agree with this, but hey, I've been wrong this series already plenty of times. The Lucio ban will come out, so yeah, they're gonna force again more of these, like these Ana Kiri, Ana Brig, Wu Yang Kiri, these kind of compositions. I think that's a great call. I do have it like, we're so sick of the Torb. Let's just get the Torb as kind of that, that clutch pick out of the way from Shin. But yeah, Esperanza. Not exactly the map I thought we'd be going to here for map 4, but it will be. And of course, it's the Maga. No real shock here from Robert Morris to see that.
Yeah, I think this is their optimal comp. I think this is what Robert Morris University are the best at. This is what they like. It makes sense. We do actually have a substitution in from New Haven. Again, Monclover will be coming in for Big Larkman on the Wuyong. So same character, just a different face behind the character. And match point, though, for New Haven. If they can get this Big Warrior Blackout synergy online the way we've seen it this entire series, I'm feeling a little bit scared for Robert Morris University heading into Esperanza.
I do want to see how they deal with the dives, because that has been the big thing, right? Especially over on map 2, they were able to answer, in flashpoints 2 through 4 really well to, these Blackout Big Warrior dives. They were able to counter dive very easily. Now is the question, can you do it again? Is Shin already kind of just lurking here in the back?
Yeah, this is exactly what you need a Venture to do. Find a small area and do not let anybody touch it. Not exactly sure what Knight was going for, just kind of climbing down the wall in the middle of the nowhere, but you kind of need that pick. Considering Blackout, again, in the backline, both supports are dead. This Ana Brig comp, as soon as this Hazard Genji gets on top of it, it's just an instant death sentence. So Robert Morris, they have to learn to fight without it, but it's so hard to do when you're running like a Mauga and a Cassidy that require a lot of the stability that you can't have without supports. They're just gonna run back to their spawn. Somehow all managed to get out alive, which is a miracle on its own.
Yeah, but Utah New Haven are also trying to play a little passive because they know how quickly you can get popped by this composition, right? So they're trying to play it a little bit safe. They do gain lead, but this bot hasn't really moved a whole lot, but that could be the opener they need.
Yeah, with Despair being on this Freya, that Mauga gets bursted a lot faster than what Zekel was used to experiencing in the previous map. So, and then we're just back to the big warrior doing things. Big C has gotten a couple picks here and there, and it's helpful, but just with if Zekely dies, this fight isn't going to happen.
No, yeah, if Zekely dies that quickly, you might as well wrap it up. Like, this is done. You need your Mauga to be able to stay alive a little bit longer. They should get another touch here for the advanced spawn. Checkpoint is reached from the University of New Haven. But they had the bullish out. They just want to kind of chuck it on the Mauga, force some cooldowns early. They could. Or just shoot him down. Already, Cardiac Overdrive forced out. And that'll just be a soft reset here for the Chargers.
That's great. That is a winning cooldown trade. Once that, as you said, Cardiac Overdrive is done, they're vulnerable in Big C. No roll, combat roll. Big Warrior says, okay, here's a slash for you. Tidal Blast applied to the Hazard. Doesn't really do a whole lot other than scare the remaining Robert Morris players back. This is going to be close to capping that first point early on in this game. And yeah, Robert Morris, they really don't have a way to get in, especially with Despair's Bola shot picking up threat towards the tail end of it. Zekley just runs into their own demise. Not much else to be done here. University of New Haven, they're feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, and already the butt scratch happened, so this bot, Jesus, continues to move forward. Nano here from Overwatch God. I wonder, do they use it on Shin to try and build up that tectonic shock, or do they try to send Zekley in for this fight? But you gotta think they gotta stop the bleeding soon.
You're playing for this Wallow combo, right? The cage, the nano, whatever else you decide to chuck at it, and hope that you use a lot of resources on the other side, which does happen. It's a 2-for-2 trade and an absolute team wipe for Robert Morris Academy. It was so, like, that was like in the blink of an eye. It happened fast, but this is the only major win con you have.
Yeah, that was the big win con. Yes, you know, like, the Deadeye can give you some space, but that's really going to be about it. You'll feel pretty lucky and pretty good about maybe getting one kill off of that. So now it's back over to New Haven. Blade is used and available here from Blackout. We've seen how crazy they've been with it before. Big C, though, has done a better job as of late shutting it down. Let's see if he can do it again. Or, what?
I was going to say, instead it's the tectonic shock being shut down by Blackout. So a little bit of a caster reverse curse on that, whatever you decide to call it. Big C is also dead, though, so that's kind of what you expect. Big Warrior winning that one out, and it's just kind of Robert Morris. How long can we buy time? How long can we keep this one going? Not very long is the answer, but you prevent a couple casualties, you'll take it.
Yeah, and it's not like they got, you know, bad progress. They got to 30 meters, but this is that dangerous, you know, win a fight, lose a fight, you know, kind of rotation we get into sometimes on these push maps to where whichever team is in the lead by, you know, a decent margin, they win the fight towards mid, they bring the bot up, they gain a little bit of meters, and then they just back up, right? They can play this fight again kind of towards mid, or just lose the fight right away. You know, that's a way just to kind of start that cycle all over again. This fight's done.
Wow.
Immediately.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, we didn't get to see how that happened, but I'm going to assume that, one, we got to see Kiriko peeled off the wall by Big C, and two, the rest of the team came forward to help said Kiriko, and Zekley was able to kind of pounce on there and get that good dive combo with Shin. So those are the kind of executions Robert Morris needs to continue having, but it's very difficult on this specific part of the map.
It really is, and now Robert Morris, again, bringing this card up. Now they have both support ultimates as well, so if they win this fight, the snowball could very well be on, but Blackout's looking right now for the blade, setting up for it.
He should go for it before this point is capped. They're kind of running out of time. With the title blast comboed up, there's Overwatch gun sliced in half. Can they find more? It's the hinder, but not nearly enough to stop that Genji. Blackout playing lights out once more here. Rally, all that's really left of Robert Morris University Academy, and they were just like a hair short from getting that checkpoint too. That, it hurts.
That hurts because now you have the delay as well. You have to deal with the butt scratch later on if you get the bot back over there, and you don't get advanced spawns. So this is going to be a very long time until the recontest comes through. Not a horrible fight, but a beautiful blade once again there from a Blackout. And now New Haven, they will play this a little bit quicker. Obviously, Robert Morris actually very quick on the respawn, but nevertheless, advanced spawns back in their favor.
They're looking for a Nano to Malga engage, but realized the bot was just giving up positioning there. But the downpour into the top room locks up everybody, and Blackout goes into the back, takes out yet another support. Zickley, there's just no chance for him to stay on his feet without the Ana, leading up to this cage fight and Shin to work their magic. But even then, it's a grim battle. Needs to turn around. 14 HP to spare. It's Big C, though, to help step it up. And you just don't have the actual healing numbers to get this one done. It's going to be an inevitable stagger onto this Cassidy, and sword spawns yet again for University of New Haven.
I'm like 99% sure Big C, when he backed up from that, ran into Shin, and they were so low from the explosion they just died. Even though they didn't even get hit with the shot. That's unfortunate. Nano goes on to... Yeah, I think it's just to keep them up. Zeckley was very low. Yeah, it just keeps them up and kind of just forces New Haven to respect it and just rotate back over to the high ground.
It's not the ideal spot to have to use a Nano, but because you get to take another fight after this without a pick, you go ahead and make sure it's worth it. But again, these title blasts have gotten so much value whenever Monclover has put them on to Blackout, because you can dash in, guarantee a knockdown, and most likely an elimination to follow suit. This one's a bit more scrappy since Zickley got on top of the high ground there, but we get Blackout so much support just poured into this Genji. It takes 3 players to eventually shut him down, and even then, you get a cancel on forward spawns. They should be plenty of time to contest, or even not even needed.
Yeah, Robert Morris are still injured enough where, yes, they're going to make sure that the advanced spawns are canceled out from New Haven, but they're just have to play another fight here towards mid because they just don't have the manpower right away. But this rally can build up some early armor health. They have the Deadeye to create some more space. But again, the worry is Blackout Blade.
Yeah, Blackout Dragon
There
Blade,
it is.
it hurts. You hate to see it if you're a fan of the Robert Morris University Academy team. And yeah, they hate to feel it for sure. That's another one for Blackout. And what else have you got left in the tank? You got a minute 40 left to go on this point. A couple of spare ultimates to pull, but with how conservative University of New Haven have been about using their own. I mean, Jesse, this is an uphill battle and a half.
Yeah, no, if for Robert Morris now, this is going to be quite an uphill battle, right? A minute and a half, you got to win this fight. New Haven do get the advanced spawns. But you got to win this, win a fight in mid, and then probably another fight after that. So you got to space out your ults correctly. That's a great start.
Yeah, Blackout caught sleeping there, and Shin took advantage of double kill with the Deadeye. All right, now that is a great way to start turning things around for Robert Morris, and it all starts with Shin getting the better of Genji, but I mean, it's Big Warrior. Why am I even talking? I don't think it's gonna matter, but that hurts enough where that's gonna kind of come back to bite them later on this point, especially if the hazard doesn't get staggered too much, or at all.
Big Warrior.
Never mind.
No, eventually gets foiled off.
Okay, that's pretty
but
bad.
that'll actually, because of how late they died, this gives Robert Morris way more space to work with, because Big Warrior will not get the close spawn just like everyone else on the Chargers did. So this wants to be a free tick for Robert Morris, so they can now settle in with this butt scratch, get ready for this ultimate combo. Nano, Cage, Tectonic Shock all ready to go, but this downpour for Big Warrior could kind of stun everything out.
This map just turned from like a 4-fight miracle to, oh my, we are in 1-fight territory for this series potentially. But Brett already dead. It's Blackout into the backline. Both supports going down to the Genji. The cage fight wombo combo isn't going to be enough. That's 2 that are traded out, but with no healing, you're on a ticking clock for Robert Morris, and you're running out of time very quick. Shin, barely any health left to go, but this payload, it's still inching forwards. Blackout,
they killed each other!
Back and contest, but no, there's a even trade, but somebody is there. It's Big Warrior and Seekly, the only two that are alive. An absolute bloodbath at the point, but who's gonna outlast? The Wuyagabon Clover is back, keeping them alive, but so is the support of Robert Morris. But they're down on Brett. The Nano Boost, though, land onto the Malga, even more sustained as possible. The hazard goes down. The touch has to continue, but I don't think it's gonna happen. It's only the Kiriko remaining. Your despair comes back from the high ground. There's no way. This is about to flip the way that it should have. Blackout, though, comes back to the fight. And New Haven, oh my goodness, they're gonna pull it through by the skin of their teeth. 3-1 win for them. They're gonna remain undefeated in Division 3.
Holy, what in the world just happened? We may just need a replay of the last 60 seconds of the time. Like you said, what seemed like almost like a for sure victory there for New Haven for a little bit, just completely turns around. You can see Mod Clover here at the end is like, try to keep their hazard on. Like, hey, buddy, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. I know the Marcus nanoed. We're going to be fine. It just, what an insane end to that game for New Haven. Robert Morris so close. It was, what, maybe a 1/10 of a meter away from forcing us to a map 5. And
yeah,
the oldest, fun fact, oldest varsity program in the U.S., Robert Morris. History not on their side this time. New Haven up to 3-0.
I mean, that was a fantastic ending, I gotta say.
God,
How that
was
series was.
insane.
That got the blood pumping, and these are the kind of things that we live for in good collegiate esports. So thank you so much for that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think New Haven had the overall more consistent performance. I think they had a lot of the higher highs where it was more of like a in the middle kind of battle if we were seeing these things pulled through. I really liked the creativity of the Mauga, the Venture, all of these compositions together. They get bonus points for that in my eyes. But when you have synergy as good as what we see between Big Warrior and the DPS line, there's just not much that you can do. We highlighted that at the beginning of the series, and it's just what separates good teams from great ones.
And honestly, those Tidal Blast combos, even when
Yeah,
like a blade wasn't necessarily used or anything, it just let them go in with no hesitation whatsoever. We even saw a few defensive ones be used throughout this series. So I get people are really starting to understand this Wuyang tech, and I have a feeling, especially in these Genji comps and the Reaper comps, it's just so good. Let your flex DPS run off. You don't got to worry about the initial, like, oh my god, they're going to get melted within like half a second like they normally are right now in 2025. And it just opens up so many more plays, and New Haven took full advantage.
Absolutely. And yeah, New Haven, I think this team's been around for like a hot minute. I know Robert Morris, I mean, yeah, they were like the oldest team, but I think we're the oldest of like ever, like ancient in collegiate esports years. But we've seen, I think, a lot more recent success from the University of New Haven, especially in their regional conferences. So to see them continue to do that here in NECC, it is pretty delightful, right? And I'm hoping that we can kind of see how that continues to progress through the main season. As there was only one other undefeated team before this, we determined, right? That sounds about right. So
let me see if they've played. Just real quick before we.
There you go. Live updates.
Off here. Live updates here at NECC. Playing as we speak. All right. So they're playing against Penn State White. We'll kind of see how that goes. But Penn State's 1-1. So Endicott favored, but not necessarily a guarantee.
Yeah. So again, matchups to be looking out for later on down the line. I think University of New Haven, they have a lot of stuff figured out early in the season. They have the existing synergy, and it really helps. Robert Morris have a fantastic direction to go in. I love the creative comps. They have things that catch teams off guard, and I think there's very few teams that are going to be able to stand up to this like Mauga Venture on a brig shenanigans that we've got going on.
No, it's a lot. It's just a lot to deal with. Especially, you can tell David right away on map 2 is like, oh, okay, yeah, no, we were good. We were right to ban Magra map 1 because this is something else. But they eventually figured out how to play around it. But no, for a team that's not ready, this Magra comp is really going to do some damage.
Yeah, you really can't prep for that. Like, I don't guarantee there's no other team that's playing this variation of composition, and there's a real advantage in that. It might be quirky, you might be difficult to kind of learn where that is kind of coming from, but if you can figure out, you can make it work, then great, run away with it. Those are the
Yeah.
comps that are fun to see. Those are the ones that can often be super fun to play as well. But speaking of fun, we're gonna put a slight pause in it because we have our second series that is coming up, but we have a bit of time until we get to said second series. So we're gonna send it to a break, and we will come back at 10 p.m. EST in approximately 50 minutes, if I'm
Give or
looking
take.
at my clock correctly. Something like that, with our Division 2 matchup of the evening. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you at the top of the hour for some more NECC Overwatch.
I wish we stayed the same. I got way too many thoughts in my brain. I got memories that run through my veins. I'm not one to blame, but I could point out every way that you changed. Some things stay up while others go right down the drain. And lately we've been going down in flames. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm my therapist is saying that I should. I don't believe her, but I really wish I could. Instead, I guess I'll stay misunderstood. Oh, 'cause I'm stuck now, just trying to figure a way out. I've tried but can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to.
All I seek to find is a world free my mind. By the light of a world that's blind. In your eyes I see there's a place for me. In your eyes I see there's a place
dark, cause I'm trying to get to you. Yeah, I'm trying to get to you. I wanna get to you, cause I gotta get to you. I would climb 1,000 mountains, swim across the darkest ocean, cause I'm trying to get to you. Yeah, I'm trying to get to you. I wanna get to you, cause I gotta get to I gotta get to
And I don't have expectations, but when I daydream, I fall asleep, and our hands melt. It started out as teasing, but I had deeper meaning when I touched your chest. Now I don't know how to act, but if I did, climb at first, but I've only stumbled over diamonds, and I no longer fear the worst. I used to view you as a mountain that I couldn't climb but first, but I've only stumbled over diamonds, and I no longer fear the worst. You were the calm to my storm. You could take the wind, and though the winters were calm, weighing on our shoulders, at least the ice could never break us in. You were my horizon that I didn't see at first. You were my horizon, and the breeze is just what I deserve. You were my horizon that I didn't see at first. You were my horizon, and the breeze is just what I deserve.
colder when you're frozen over like I am. Well, I know you know that like it's colder, colder when I'm older, older than I am. And I know you know that I have lost composure, but I'll hold you closer while I can. I never told you that I'm slightly broken, that I might lose focus when I am. I know you know that life gets colder, colder when you're frozen over like I am. Breaking up all this static running through my blood.
seeing in color. Lost without you, I can't make it through the night. How come I'm not seeing in color? How come I'm not seeing in color? How come I'm not seeing in color? So far gone, I'm caught up, infatuated by our symmetry. It feels like before now, I was only half of me. Thought that I had figured it out, never felt it rationally, but this sense of urgency has me wondering. Thought that I had figured it out, nothing could get through to me, but this kind of chemistry has me wondering. When you're not around it, all goes black and white. How come I'm not seeing in color? Lost without you, I can't make it through the night. How come I'm not seeing in color? How come I'm not seeing in color? So far gone.
Welcome back to our wonderful evening of NECC Overwatch. We are heading into our second matchup of the evening, but this time we are taking a trip over to the West Coast for our Division 2 game. CSU San Bernardino will be taking on the University of New Mexico for their game this evening. And this is one that we're kind of excited about because, you know, we've seen like a lot of developments, especially in kind of like the rumblings. We call it kind of like the bubble teams, you know, of the kind of collegiate Overwatch team. But like tier 2 or Division 2 of NECC in particular looks a lot different than what we've seen in the past. And these two teams in particular have been some of those rising stars.
Yeah, so a lot of the the teams that were kind of the forefront last year in Division 2, they've made their way up to Division 1.
Yeah.
So now Division 2 is wide open for the taking. There's multiple teams in this division that were moved up from last year. Like GCU, I think was in Division 5 last year, and got some roster changes. They're now up in Division 2, and so are the Yotes, and obviously New Mexico as well. So curious to see. Obviously the Yotes, technically 0-2, but we're trying to figure out what really went on during week 1. We're not quite sure. It's labeled as a double FF. So for now, we're going to say 0-2, but that could be wrong. And for New Mexico, a little bit of a better start, but obviously both teams wanting to, try and find something here. Doomfist is the ban from the Yotes. Genji, the ban here from New Mexico. So maybe they saw our last game, be like, hey, we can't have that happen. Like we just can't.
Yeah, let's ban some weird tanks first. And maybe they
Yeah.
did their research, so there could be some very good validity to it. We just won't know until the very start. Both are valid bans on Lijiang Tower in particular. It's dive map. You don't want to get shoved off the map by a Doomfist. That sounds absolutely miserable. And Genji over right now is a very solid pick. Pretty much anywhere you could possibly think of,
Yeah.
Genji is probably playable. So, UNM Esports Cherry definitely leaning towards that. That also tells us that we're leaning away from some of the heavier dive that we've been seeing. So perhaps more of like this Zarya kind of Reaper stuff that has been coming up a little bit more. The Tracer, another thing that teams can kind of lean to for some more off-angle pressure. I'm really curious to see where that all kind of plays together.
Yeah, so obviously, a lot is in the air for the moment. I think we just actually had like a very quick swap for the Yotes come in, but this should be. I want to see this first map because obviously it creates a last map. Last match, I should say. Map 1 was a very different flavor than what the rest of that series was.
Yeah.
But I think here, especially for the Yotes, again, rough start to the beginning of this season, but trying to find maybe a silver lining here in week 3 as we get loaded in. It will be Gardens for our first round of the day, and obviously, yeah, trying to just find anything, Molly. Obviously, granted, we're not too far into the season, but week 3 of 7, so still plenty of time for them to really start putting it together. Yeah, relatively normal lineup going, at least initially here, with Tweaker probably swapping over to the Tracer or something similar after the TP. New Mexico, on the other hand, I'm just going to wait. I'm not even going to comment.
I don't know. That feels kind of real.
On what's happening over there. But,
it feels real. It's happening.
This is very real. All right. So, obviously, Roadhog got buffed. Right. Roadhog got buffed recently. We have a pause already. I think the universe was like, yo, what's going on? Let's pause for a second here. Is this really what we're doing?
But okay, to be fair, if you showed us this comp 3 weeks ago, we'd be like, Roadhog? Are we being silly? No. But we're in the days of Roadhog has been reverted to some of his former glory, for better or worse, depending on who you ask. And in the case of Risk, it can be one of those things that if you don't deal with it or you don't respect it, it's basically like a skill check, If you don't respect the Roadhog, if you're not able to play around him properly, you're not going to have a good time. I also like the Pharah pick that we got to see. I believe it was Celeste who was playing it, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I think she was the one that was pulling that out. So Pharah, a lot of great aerial pressure too. And Lijiang Tower in particular, when you think about Gardens, I think about 2 things here. It's really hard to get to the point because you're either through narrow choke points or risk getting booped off the map. And it's very hard to flip because of how quick players can get back to the point. So it's this first fight is gonna be very definitive of how this map ends up going out.
Yeah, I wonder what the Yotes reaction is. You can see Genji turns the corner, sees the girl who's like, guys, we got an issue. Who doesn't have an issue? Tweaker, already winning the Tracer 1v1 against Keygator.
I was gonna say, that's a great start for just kind of removing that Tracer duel. It frees up so much space for Tweaker to kind of just go around, not worry about that, and just straight up run down this team. With the Sombra Tracer, this fast comp with the D.Va, as you can see, everybody just moves so quickly. You pick a target, you blow them up, you go next. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and when you play that fast, it may be hard for Risk to get a ton done, right? Because you can see Risk was kind of sitting there trying to find some hooks, didn't necessarily line up. And everybody just kind of ran by him from the Yotes. Just ran right into the back line to do some damage. I gotta say, this crosshair from Tweaker.
That's the crosshair of all time.
That is the crosshair of all time.
It's kind of fun. I like it. It's pretty cool. But, yeah, we'll see if it matters. Clearly, it helped him win the first Tracer 1v1, so it can't be too bad. Yeah. It is a 1-for-1 trade to start us off, but good Kenji. D.Va gets so much value. D.Va is just one of those characters, she picks to fight a squishy. You are going to lose unless you instantly get help, and so far, UNM Esports Cherry haven't been able to give that assistance towards their DPS players when good Kenji puts the pressure on. Self-destruct is out just in time to remake, but it actually ends up grabbing Risk. I believe was booped back around the corner by Dream. Dreamer into the sightline of it. Wonderful play from Yotes Blue to keep this point capped. We'll end up committing a Kitsune rush to it. Really don't know if that one was needed, since this point is pretty underlocked.
Yeah, I have a feeling at first, like, okay, do they still push in here with the Roadhog? Just in case, and without the Roadhog, they're just gonna pop it just in case. And Tweaker, beautiful exit frag on the Captain Kit-Kat. Pulse Bomb, He-Gator tries to answer, cannot find anything, and the boop!
Oh!
From Dreamer, the enhanced boop with the wall ride brings the broom out for risk. They get sent right back to spawn. And Valerie now, they'll have to TP straight into point, and it's going to have to be just a little bit choreographed because they don't really have many other options.
Valerie here. It guarantees a way onto the point. You have the shooting rush, but it was booked off the window. But thankfully, Tweaker wasn't quite prepared for that either. So on the receiving end of a Roadhog hook. How long can they keep this going? Lost out on the Symmetra, and that's a huge amount of fighting power, but my goodness, the whole hog lighting up the kill feed there, and UNM Esports Cherry, they're going to manage to get the flip.
They get the flip, and they save their Wu Yang ultimate, plus the photon barrier that's almost ready here for Valerie. So not a horrible fight, but obviously still a long ways to go, and you cannot have your Tracer die right now.
That's really unfortunate. He-Gator was biting off a little more than they could chew, and you're in a world of hurt, especially with the Diva getting hooked in. Go through the microwave of that is Valerie right now. And this is what you do if you do not respect the Roadhog. Look at all the chaos that Risk has caused. Resulted in 2 Elins, got the D-Mech onto the Diva. Like, this is fantastic value out of this tank hero.
Yeah, the one tap ability with the hook shot combo, it's just as lethal as it used to be, years ago. Like you said before, massive changes to the character's kit, and Roadhog kind of fell for a long time. But now, no more Pigpen. You got to worry about just pure damage.
Wow, I mean, if I'm Dreamer, I'm a little upset at that. That was a ridiculous hook out of Risk. I mean, that just denies the fight before it even starts. You commit the photon barrier just for safety measures there, and that's kind of about it. Yotes Blue haven't even had a chance to take a fight, and they're still going.
And they're still going, severely pushed up. That, I will say, if that hit something, my God, that would have been insane. Just chucking it up with a dream. This EMP still waiting from Danny. You gotta use it at some point. Risk goes in with Tidal Blast, doesn't really find much.
But Danny's so far away from the fight. It's only now that he gets there.
Oh
He's
my
looked
God,
up the
Danny,
map,
no!
Locator. It got thrown off course, and suddenly it's an even 2-for-2 trade. UNM, they have a little bit more healing at the end of the day, so if this fight goes long, they'll be favored. But TSM going down. Yotes Blue suddenly feeling much better about their chances here. Good Kenji guarantees a remake, but they can't do much else about this whole hog. The defense matrix running out of duration, and there's just not many players that can come down and burst out somebody like Risk with the amount of health that he has remaining. Gives even Tweaker on the exit. That was a one-shot without the hook even needed. This is insane stall potential. UNM Esports Cherry, they bought an entire fight for themselves just because Risk survived. He-Gator and Valerie returned on the teleporter, and just like that, the Yotes Blue team are completely wiped off from the objective, and that's Gardens going over to UNM.
Wow, that sim still being a factor honestly played massively into UNM's favor there. Just the fact that they could pop the TP and all of those reinforcements are immediately there to try and finish it up. Yes, when you look at the eliminations, it's all Yotes, right? Like, everybody's in the positive. Everybody's playing spectacular for Yotes, and yet it's still an Esports Cherry map, a round 1 win, because they just played the objective really well. That second half really went into their favor, and now as we go into Night Market, they're still going to keep Risk on the Roadhog, because why not? He was popping off on some of these eliminations, and the fact that they've been able to land a good majority of these hooks, especially on the squishies, has been a big win condition. But now the Yotes, they will actually be on the sim, and they will TP first, but now UNM TP right into.
And these teleporters are going to be very defining here. We saw how much value Valerie was able to get out of it in the previous round, so her kind of inspiring Danny to pick it up here is kind of big, especially when you're already used to it. You already have these perks built up. And now you have the first point, right? You have this presence that UNM, they have to find a way to get in, which is so difficult to do against a Symmetra that's already in a good spot. And Danny kind of forced on the outskirts, only with Tweaker to kind of poke them out. Danny, Keygator not having the best luck on this Tracer so far in terms of that 1v1. But I mean, if you're able to get things done with these Roadhog hooks, the Symmetras at full charge beam, you don't really care too much about what Tweaker is able to accomplish on the Tracer. As long as you can keep your tank alive, there isn't too much of a threat of fully losing these fights.
Yeah, but when it's just Risk left at the end of it. So the Yotes still capitalize. Obviously, everybody TP's back in. This Hazard, I wonder if it's just like, all right, we just gotta ignore Risk as even a factor, right? Like, just pretend they don't exist. Try and play your sightlines smart, and try and focus on, you know, Captain KitKat, TSM, Valerie, and just go from there. Obviously, Keygator now off the Tracer.
Ooh!
What a stick! A little bit of a drive-by on the Captain KitKat.
That was pretty nice. That gets a double thumbs up from me. And that's just fight one, honestly. Like, you're not going to push without your Wuyong. Risk does have other ideas. I don't agree with them. Yeah, Risk, bad idea, buddy. Don't do that. Tweaker is there and still hunting for more eliminations. They connect the Kitsune Rush into this too, like... And this is such a weird point. That could have been an easy reset for Esports Cherry, but Yotes Blue forced that to be much worse than it was.
Yeah, much longer of a fight than it needed to be. And all of a sudden, final fight territory here for the Yotes. And we'll be looking for another teleport over, and Tweaker trying to disrupt that. At least just a little bit. Downpour is available here from Kenji if they want to use, but they're just waiting. But TP actually sends to the other side of this open area. So now Yotes back up, try and play more point.
They have the down power to play around, as well as those photon barriers. You're feeling pretty safe if you're the Yotes right now. Yeah, I mean, he's from a sound barrier. This is like every defensive button you could possibly have. And honestly, you're pretty good to close out the point just because of that. You do end up losing out on a DPS player apiece. The sound barrier is there from Valerie, but perhaps a tad bit too late. It does make sure that Risk can stay alive, confirm the elimination onto Danny. Another fantastic hook. Wait a minute. Risk is turning this around all by himself, but he's out of healing here. It's really only the Tracer who's just getting back, and Keygator, and fighting against a tank and a full health Lucio. A bit too much to ask from one lonely Tracer without recall. We're gonna finish this one off in Control Center.
Yotes, they clean it up. Tweaker, maybe a little bit of a celebration there at the end. But Yotes, yeah, that was very clean. That was kind of what we saw for the first half of Gardens, but they were able to finish the job this time, and really, you know, their answer to Risk really was just like, all right, just ignore it, they exist. You know, it's just like, all right, we're just gonna walk by, don't need to worry about the Roadhog. And yeah, you can see in the deaths, 9 deaths for Valerie so far. She's struggling a little bit. You can tell that is the #1 priority for Yotes. Shut down the sim. Do not let them ramp up the beam. Don't let the turrets be able to go right back out. And because of everything, UNM makes some swaps. Risk is over to the Mog. I'm taking a little bit of inspiration from Robert Morris, Valerie as well, on the Rockmuncher Adventure, and TSM even going to bat to try and help out a little bit.
If I'm Yotes Blue right now, I'm looking at UNM comps and I might cry a few tears.
Yeah.
This is gonna be rough. Really rough to play into with their composition. There's so many things that are just gonna poke at you and do these massive amounts of burst damage. And Kenji's just instantly separated from the rest of the team. As long as the Symmetra and Danny is dealt with, there aren't too many risks for Risk to technically worry about in this sense. Tweaker, of course, is a whole nother issue on his own, has proven to be rather lethal on this Tracer and hasn't had too much congestion so far, especially if there isn't a matching Tracer. So he did actually manage to get 2 throughout all of this, and Risk is out of support for the most part. The Immortality Field was thrown down and barely too early to actually be there when the tank needed it. So only about 12% will be gained for UNM.
Now, Tweaker's the MVP of that fight. They
Absolutely.
find Captain KitKat early, then they, TSM early, then they find Captain KitKat. And as much as, Risk dominated the presence on the point, there was just no heals, and eventually that's going to come back to bite you. So, it's very quick flip over. But like you said, this Malga is going to continue being an issue. Tweaker playing a little bit of a dangerous game.
And that's what you gotta do on Tracer. Another pulse bomb sticks TSM as he He's jumping mid-air. Fantastic play from this Tracer. Tracer is one of the best heroes in Overwatch right now, and Tweaker is showing, if you do not deal with me, I will be an absolute menace to anybody who dares glance in my direction, or even those who don't. Just give him a 3K, why don't you?
Yeah, just a cheeky little 3K there for Tweaker. Absolutely on a roll here on Control Center. That'll force some swaps. Valerie over to the Reaper now. So trying to maybe help Risk a little bit more in the front lines. Trying to force Kenji to play a little bit more passively. But it's key gainer. When you're on this far, especially, yes, we're inside, but it can still work. But you gotta think something's gotta give pretty soon here. It has not gotten the value needed.
Well, Tweaker's trying to make the ankle of their enemy team give out, but no, actually met with a kunai of TSM this time. Will be punished. Risk going into the backline, has this cage fight, ends up putting it down, but there's so many players inside of it, and the photon barrier just keeps them alive. Key Gator teleports through, Barrage is laid down, but I mean, that's a massive ultimate combo from UNM Esports Cherry, and they're just not able to convert on it. Yotes Blue took such great initiative to back up and react to that accordingly with the barrier.
No, that was a beautiful reaction, like you said, and now Yotes Blue. Yes, a little bit of it just kind of stalling out. Kenji is not back yet, but they have the sound barrier and pulse bomb ready to go. Watch out for a Suzu force to be early from TSM to allow the pulse bomb to get some full value.
I mean, this is final fight too for the Yotes.
Yeah.
They need to close this out. You have 2 ults, none for UNM Esports Cherry, and with Valerie already down, like looking grab with Grim to close it out. The sound barrier health simply too much for them to handle. Kenji can leap wherever he pleases. It's only the Mauga that's remaining of Risk, and it started out pretty dicey there on the first round, but once that Roadhog got solved, Yotes Blue have looked well in Control Sense, and will end up taking Control Center and Lijiang Tower.
And take Lijiang Tower 2-1. Like you said, once they figure out that Roadhog, it seemed a pretty smooth sailing here for the Yotes. But considering the level of hooks that were played, I don't blame the play of the game. Beautiful hook there on the Tweaker. Basically just runs on the side. We're like, where do you think you're going? But instead, all right, hi Lucio, goodbye. As yeah, 3 dead right after that too. But just not enough that time for UNM. New Mexico now. Well, gain the map pick, and I have a feeling now that we've got a little bit of a taste of both of these teams. Maybe a Roadhog or Mauga ban is in our semi-near future here from the Yotes.
It might not need to be. They did have a decent answer to it once they figured it out, but I mean, it did take time. I think Tracer, on the other hand,
It's true, yeah.
that's a whole nother situation.
That may be needed.
Like literally, the very first elim of this entire series was Tweaker on to Danny, and Danny was just struggling because Tweaker had a lot more support, number one. I think we always saw the Lucio of Dreamer kind of following him around. But we also had the your positioning. When you're playing against a Tracer like that, you can't afford to take these heavy off angles where you are going to get caught out. So as soon as Tweaker was able to clear whatever obstacle like that, like the main obstacle for the Tracer, which typically is your opponent like that, you can kind of just run at the back line for free and you're not too concerned about it. And that's what we saw happening multiple fights in a row. Even if they lost the first elimination, Tweaker would usually find a way to come in, get a couple elims somewhere, typically on a support, and it would be flipped completely on its head. So even if it's a slight play adjustment, not even making any hero swaps to identify that, hey, this guy's a problem, we need to put a bit more of a marker on him, I think that alone can do a lot to kind of dampen the Tracer. But of course, it does depend on, is it bad enough that we want to ban it right now? Or are we confident in our next map pick that we don't think it's going to be an issue?
Yeah, I wouldn't blame them if they ban it out, because it's not like, oh, if we ban the Hazard, right? Okay, then cool. They're not going to be as strong on dive maps. So you can maybe pick a dive map, not have to worry about it. No, this is like, Tracer's basically good on almost every single map, right? Like... It doesn't feel like there's a true bad map or a map type right now for Tracer. It's the same thing with Genji, right? Both of them are just kind of at the top of the DPS tier right now. So I wonder if, I would think they're probably going to go more into their strengths, whether it be they go to a King's Road and want to play more of the Mauga, something like that. We do have some changes coming in.
Yeah.
So role swaps, actually, which we rarely see that, but that tells me no more Roadhog. At least for now. Risk will go over to DPS. Kit Kat will go from support over to tank. and Valerie from DPS to support. So a full cycle of players here for UNM. Not something we see very often, like at all at this tier.
No, I was gonna say, like, it's, you can see it with like lower level teams where you might have somebody that's, you know, a pretty strong tank player, but they can also have like a secret pocket like Genji or something that you really want to pull out. I literally just described super. But in these instances but in instances like this, we're at a high enough level, players have typically fallen into some sort of specialty at this point. So it's both, I think, a good thing for me to show that there's a good understanding of multiple roles on the team, but it also can raise some flags of like, okay, we're not fully settled into what we want to do yet. And we're early enough in the season where I think it's okay. You're still figuring out where people fit best where, what strategy works best on what map. So if this is what UNM Esports Chariot are more comfortable with doing, I'm all here for it. I really want to see what that result is. The first map gave us a good taste of kind of this overall, like, we're going to hit you fast with Tweaker's Tracer if you're not paying attention kind of thing. So it's now on UNM Esports to adapt to that.
No, as soon as you said the super comment, Route 66, like just that entire map,
the map?
just flowed through my brain of like, oh my god.
Oh, I thought you meant that's the map that they picked. I was like, oh my god.
No, I meant Super's map of Genji.
Yeah.
No, that was a day of all time. That's got to be one of the most iconic regular season games for Owl. But like I said, we're only a month into the semester. It's only week 3 here at NECC, and it's only, we're 2 weeks into the homecoming circuit, so we got plenty of time. Suravasa will be the map, so not Route 66. It would have been, that would have been hilarious.
That would have been great. That would have
been insane foreshadowing. But no, again, this is gonna be. My worry is this is a very fast map. I more now want that Tracer ban for UNM. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be Tracer's playhouse if you don't. There's just so many different off angles they can run around, and this could have some issues. And they'll ban the Hazard. I think that's the other side that I think can be fine, because Hazard's very strong here.
Yeah, Hazard's very strong. I think this tends to be like a bit more of like a dive hybrid-ish map.
Yeah, like dive rush mix.
Yeah, like Hazard, the epitome of Hazard. So good ban. Like, I'm here for it. Again, I think the concern of the Tracer is still very much there. Flashpoint and Push are the two map types that I think she can feel the most lethal, but you can only do it on one or the other. So using the Hazard ban now, I think makes a lot more sense. I think this is a map that it will be one of the most impactful to have that ban, but also taking away the Reaper for CSUSB. It seems more like if we're not playing the Hazard, we're playing something that we don't really want to worry about getting bursted as fast.
Monkey.
I think there's a good potential that I think Winston's possible. Maybe going back to the Diva, perhaps. The Diva did look good, other than when Risk just decided to hook the Diva every single time. But when the Diva wasn't hooked, it was great.
Yeah, no, just those little hooks gotta be worried. But obviously with Risk now on DPS, maybe they recognize like, hey, we don't even gotta worry about it. And maybe that's why they also feel comfortable about the Reaper ban. Because they know, okay, Risk is off tank. Maybe less of a chance we're going to see a Maga or a Roadhog during this map. So it's not like it's a horrible thing that we ban it now. We don't have to worry about it as like an easy counter. But let's see what these teams are cooking up, especially UNM with all the role changes. And with that, okay. Well, that's definitely why you make Captain Kit Kat on tank. Because I have a feeling Risk was not pulling out the Wrecking Ball anytime soon.
Ooh, I like it. Actually, I love it. I love Wrecking Ball gameplay. Now, do I love it with these DPS? I'm not entirely sure. But I really like the idea of the Wrecking Ball and the level of disruption that this is going to cause. Because it also puts a lot more pressure on the Yotes to be even more coordinated than they were before.
Yeah, no, you have to be coordinated, but I will say the Yotes is a little lucky here. They're already on Sombra. So you can talk how the kids are like, man, that makes life a little more complicated here.
Is that like a full. I wouldn't say Sombra's like a full counter to Wrecking
No,
Ball
not
these
anymore.
days. I almost feel like it's worse to play into Cass. And I can say this, I put 40 hours of Wrecking Ball in like the last month. It's crazy. But having the Symmetra, I don't feel like should work, but it almost kind of does, in the sense that you bunker down with the rest of your team because Kenji wants to be nowhere near that, Danny wants to be nowhere near that, and somehow Captain Kit Kat just destroyed the rest of the team. This is, again, one of those chaos comps you simply cannot prepare for.
That was a 5-head pile drive right there. Like, all right, I'm pretty sure the Tracer was here, right? And yeah, you can tell this is gonna be tricky for Yotes. Like you said, Sombra's not a full counter anymore, just with how kind of her kit works now and how the hack works. But I don't. It's obviously not bad. Kenji now over to the Winston, maybe a little bit more standard dive. But like I said, this Symmetra, it basically just lets the rest of the team kind of move at the pace of Captain Kit Kat, which allows the follow-up to be a lot easier, considering, you know, they don't have a Genji, they don't have a Tracer to be like the quote-unquote normal follow-ups to a lot of these setups.
No, it's like it's a very patchworky type comp, but it works so well. Like everybody except Captain Kit Kat is meant to be anti-dive, except Captain Kit Kat, who actually messes up the dives as they're trying to make them happen. And he doesn't require support. He's a hamster. He rolls around, gets health hacks, maybe gets an armor pack every once in a while, and he's fine. Like UNM Esports Cherry, this is one fight territory. Kenji is going to attempt to get a touch, but Danny's just struggling. Hit with yet another hinder nade, the third first death that we're seeing from the Sombra, and it's just not realistic for the Yotes Blue to try to contest. This composition is not working the way that they want. I mean, they get the touch and commit the Kitsune Rush. Okay, that's a little worse than you would expect it to be, but if you're a UNM Esports Cherry fan, this is fantastic. Like, best case scenario, you got an ult, you got a stagger, and the point was 100 up.
Yeah, and now they have the early start for the rotate over with that TP. Just let them basically skip across the first, and instead of being a little bit behind, just because of how everything went, they'll actually be here right away. But Dreamer early kills.
Okay.
Wow, that was very quick.
Yeah, there we go. They kind of went too fast during the rotation where the Symmetra couldn't really be set up alongside the cast. So that was a much better timing of it. It was just hard to get in before because UNM already had that setup. So now that Yotes Blue are the ones in the driver's seat, at least of the objective, we'll see how they're able to sustain here.
So yeah, them being, obviously having the objective, it's going to be a little more difficult. But it's all going to depend on this player right here. Captain Kit Kat, can they get the setup or just set themselves up for a beautiful elimination? Sound barrier gone.
Yeah, that's a problem. Dreamer, you can do that against any hero except Wrecking Ball, and Captain Kit Kat knew just that. And Danny's already down. Photon Barrier is honestly the only ult they should need to commit. Everyone else is either long gone or stuck in the microwave beam of Risk, who, by the way, fantastic hero pool. We've seen Symmetra, Roadhog, and Map.
Yeah. The hero pool that would drive some people in ranked absolutely insane. That is what that hero pool is. From Risk, but it's been working so far. Another Yotes, again, having to play from behind, trying to find a way into these chokes, and Captain Kit Kat just making life a hell.
Yeah, I really like putting Kit Kat onto the tank. Wrecking Ball's one of those heroes that you either play him or you don't. And Captain Kit Kat has shown very well that he's well versed on what this hero can do, the mechanics, the mobility, how to disrupt, when to disrupt. It's all looked great, and I'm honestly a little surprised we didn't see this in the last map, considering how good Wrecking Ball is there. That's another pick onto Dreamer. Captain Kit Kat takes care of the second support in Coco. Like, this is UNM Esports Cherry all the way. It is like watching a completely different team, because honestly, we are.
Yeah, no, this is just like our last series, right? Like, they get into their map pick, they get into their unique play style, and I will say, I got a question of just why weren't they running this on Legion? I won't lie. Like, the ball would have worked great on everything other than Control Center, but hey, better late than never. UNM Esports Cherry 2-0 on Saravasa, only one away. Need the mini reverse sweep here from the Yotes, but you see Captain Kit Kat is staying in the very long rotation, seeing if they can maybe knock a few of the members in to the rest of Cherry. But Yotes Blue, again, they have this pulse bomb. They're still holding on to this sound barrier. You wonder what they're trying to hold onto it for? I wonder if they're just so afraid to get Ajax. They're trying to be a little safe with it.
I'm almost on the verge of saying engage beat, but we'll see if they need it now. Keygator, that's a TP Deadeye right in front of Dan. He didn't know it hit him. Oh, UNM Esports Cherry, that was fun to watch. Thank you so much for that. Did end up losing both
Kenji?
supports. Actually, wait, Kenji just got 3. That should not happen, especially from Winston. Captain Kit Kat, though, will be able to clean it up. Has significantly more health than the Winston. Yeah, it's just a classic stare down to close out.
Kind of look at each other like, and Kenji's like, I know you're not going to get off that point. So just let me go. Like, it's just, let me go. Don't worry about it. Nothing to worry about here, everybody. But that's a fight. Well, a little bit messier than I think UNM would have liked it to be, but still, the end result. And now they can really just play back. But again, this beat still being held on to here from Dreamer.
Honestly, engage me. I'd hate saying engage me, but that might just be the move right about now. Or not. Dreamer, unfortunately, found himself colliding face first with a mine from Captain Kit Kat. Yeah, I mean, the Wrecking Ball gets out alive. You lose Tweaker, too, which, by the way, has been completely shut down. Every single hero on UNM is not fun for Tweaker to play into.
No. Like, if you try and push into the sim, you have the turrets, you got the flashbang, you know, flail, shield bash, swift step. And obviously, you're just not going to catch Captain Kit Kat. It's so difficult right now for Tweaker to do much. Danny will swap over to the Venture, more close range combat, but I think right now the issue is you just got to get one fight at least in your favor for now.
I mean, this is the last fight of the point, potentially.
And Dreamer's dead again.
All your I mean, Dreamer's dead, yeah, but at least he took Valerie with him. So it's something to work with, but there's still no sound barrier on the floor. Tweaker's pulse bomb, that one is actually going to go a bit wide. There's enough players here from UNM Esports Cherry, though, that I'm a little scared. Coco did find a couple knives to the face, so she'll manage to get some stability, but Yotes Blue, that's the first fight they've won.
Yeah, it's the first true fight they've won this map, and now Captain Kit Kat already kind of just lurking around. Obviously, not trying to commit heavily into anything quite yet, but I wonder, maybe another TP Deadeye in the works here for UNM. It worked fantastic last time, and again, TP up on the higher ground. Here we go.
Well, I'm going to throw it out, but everyone can either TP, jump, teleport, something along those lines. Coco, though, ran out of all of her cooldowns by the time Risk's beam got on her. There's a second one that's Symmetra, so dangerous if you don't immediately take it out of the fight. UNM Esports Cherry looking to completely sweep their way through Saravasa, losing a single fight. Once again, Jesse, where was this? Map number 1.
I don't know. In the back pocket, I guess, here for UNM Esports Cherry. And we got ourselves a series once again. I will say, if you were here with us last semester and last season, you know the joke. The curse not in effect today. No 3-0s, which feels like a dream considering how many we had last year for a lot of it. But no, 1-1 going into map 3, and that's all you can really do after you lose map 1 the way you did. Just win map 2 in decisive fashion. All of a sudden, the momentum very much back in your favor. And you won your map pick, so now power goes back over to the Yotes.
Yeah. The only issue, I mean, actually, this isn't even an issue because you can roll swap after the hero bans
After the map
take
pick.
place. Yeah. So you can roll swap after the map pick. You can roll swap after the hero bans, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think your rolls have to necessarily be locked. If I'm not wrong.
That's a great question, because we haven't honestly had to worry about
We haven't
that
really
too
worried
much.
about it. The only reason I say that is I thought this correlates with OWCS rules, which I know because I got rule booked for this. The you can swap your roles after bans have happened because you just need to lock in 5 players. You don't have to say what they're playing. So if that is the case in this specific scenario, you're not nearly as worried about hero bans like totally destroying your team, like this is actually unplayable. Granted, the difference in performance that we saw between the Roadhog comps and the Wrecking Ball comps, that's again night and day. We're watching a new team here, and it killed 2 birds with 1 stone because not only was it the answer that this team needed to like work together, it is just the most anti-Tweaker comp I think you could possibly play.
No, everyone's like, Tweaker, you're having too much right now. Too much fun. You're having too much value. We can't let it happen. So now it's up to the Yotes. We'll have to see what they got planned here. We're going to take a quick break, let them try and figure out where we're going for map 3. But we got ourselves a series, everybody. Stay with us.
truth, it cuts quite like a memory. Especially one that you're trying to forget. But I can't find the energy to rewind and reset. I know you don't wanna be used, but you use me to build up. You build up to break me down. How does it feel? How does it feel to know me around? I won't make a sound. I won't make a sound until I hit the ground. I won't make a sound. So don't shoot me down. Alright, we're not broken. We're just getting off the ground. Afraid of the Sometimes I lack the bravery, 'cause I know I fear the end. One day we'll see a victory. Carry on until the sun will set. To break me down.
We once again find ourselves tied up 1-1 coming back from our break, and it's a breath of fresh air. You and I always joke, Jesse, that whenever we cast together, we always get the sweeps
It's first.
every
Yeah,
single time. But so far this season, not a single sweep. Granted, this is only the second match for me, but you know, it will take it.
Yeah.
100% non-sweep rate. So thank you so much to our Division 2 and 3 teams for delivering on that. But going ahead, it's also been two series of almost similar stories where we've seen a certain performance map number one, you make a massive change in a composition, and suddenly it's like we're looking at a completely different roster, which I mean, we're looking at a partially
Kind of.
different roster this time. Bozeman will be coming in for Coco, I believe. No, not
Yep.
Coco. I take that back.
No,
not Coco.
You're right.
For Valerie. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. I was like, other flex support player. I was so close. But yes, okay. So Valerie will be subbed out. Bozeman will be in. And as far as we know, Captain Kit Kat is staying on tank and risk on DPS.
We'll see.
As
Well,
far as we know.
yeah, I have a feeling it might be very dependent on these bans, right? If Wrecking Ball is banned, I have a feeling Kit Kat is not taking. As we've got to look at their career profile, and yeah, this is Kit Kat support now. is
Kit
what I
Kat
believe I just
support?
heard.
Is
So
that-
they're
is that
going.
my ear? Okay.
So maybe playing some Ana. So I've been looking at their career profile as we speak. They have how many hours is this? 362 hours on Wrecking Ball.
It's a lot of days.
Level 86 on Wrecking Ball. I don't even know if I'm level 86 on anybody. Which kind of surprised me that they're off tank because it's Watch Point Gibraltar. So this tells me that he was banned out. We'll see here in a moment if that is indeed the case. 3, 2, 1. Yep. Okay. So that is why we
That
don't
makes
see
sense.
Captain Kit Kat on the tank anymore.
No, we don't see Captain Kit Kat on the tank, but the Tracer ban, honestly, good thing they saved it because this is also a very
Very
scary.
good
You
Tracer map.
absolutely must play Tracer map unless it's banned, and you can't play Tracer. So this is good. You don't have the Wrecking Ball, so I think the rest of the composition that did kind of work to shut down Tweaker won't function nearly as well either. So when we look at this, it's almost like we're wiping the slate, right? You're switching some stuff back around, you're getting out people's blood. The main things that were the problem aren't necessarily the problem, but how is this going to play out overall in terms of defensive stance? Danny is going to be on the Symmetra again. These teams have really liked playing this hero throughout the match. She is really good with the teleporter for those who know how to use it, but in this map in particular, especially with like a dive comp, it's not the most common thing to see.
Especially on defense.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we'll see it on offense to kind of TP over to high ground and TP near blue box, right? Because it can be a little bit of a pain to get up there. But no, they're going to run it on defense here for the Yotes. And Kenji can go back over to the hazard now that it is not banned. So they're probably pretty content with that. It is Risk back on tank here for UNM. And not Hog, not Maga. It is Mr. Bonebreaker himself, Doomfist. That is online already. Bionade, that'll shut it down. And already Tweakers in the back.
All right, so both the bans from map number 1 already seeing some validity.
Yep.
Risk, I expected nothing more from you, buddy. This is exactly what I expected from Risk. It is great. Also exactly what I expect from Tweaker. Also great, especially because the Yotes ended up winning that exchange. It's very predictable to teleport, get your support set up on this little like overpass bridge thingy that we just saw Tweaker move towards now. So executing those dives, knowing where players are going to stand is a really good way to get preemptive positioning. Although 13 HP on the Genji, that got a little sketchy there. Still going for the finishing Elin, but unfortunately the punch from Risk just a little bit too off to the side to actually get the damage done. So we're just gonna go back to pushing this payload. Feed Key Gator to the Wolves and get some progress as a result.
Yeah, some progress, but not a ton. Obviously, most of the Yotes are just going to continue to hold on high ground. Now the TP just causing a little bit of chaos here for Risk, trying to look a few different directions at once. But that was a great wall there from Kenji as well. Blocks off a lot of the heals from Risk. They have to play a little more safe, and in turn have to retreat. So a minute and a half gone. This cart, at least 50 meters so far, and Kenji, well, didn't make that work,
Okay.
but already Tweaker finally gets
Kenji's
punished.
dead. Yeah,
Yep.
a wonderful set of plays there from Captain Kit Kat. Again, Wrecking Ball Connoisseur, as we established, but next best hero is definitely this Ana, which if you want an Ana player, Watchpoint Gibraltar is the spot to pull it out. It's working so far for UNM. Been scrappy, but that's exactly what you expect when you're running a Doomfist as a tank. It doesn't seem the Yotes are going to be able to contest either, so 4.5+ minutes to start moving towards this objective. UNM keeping that momentum from the previous map win.
No, some great time, and now a beautiful stagger onto Kenji. And that'll just open up so much positioning here for UNM. They will continue to try and fight for ship control, and when you don't have a tank to deal with, makes it just a little bit easier. It's a lot harder to punish Risk on the Doomfist. So a pretty good start here for Esports Cherry. On the Yotes map pick, you gotta think, you know, especially with how difficult this map can be to cap, if there's a decent time bank here for UNM, it could be tricky. And Nano use on Kenji just to get him out.
Yeah, they try. I mean, Tweaker, ideally, yeah, you want the Nano for the Blade. It ends up being a 1-for-1. Not the end of the world for this team. Rally into the small room, more so to keep Captain Kit Kat alive, who was under pressure, and it's going to do just that, plus some with the Nano boost applied onto Risk. Just go ahead, punch whichever way his heart, or rather fist, desires in this specific case, and UNM Esports Cherry have not allowed the Yotes any ground here. Good Kenji just can't go anywhere without getting pushed out of position.
No, it just seems like Kenji, after, you know,
It was canceled!
No, the downpour cancel. That's crazy.
Wow, the reaction time from Risk to be able to pull that off is ridiculous, whether it was intentional or not. That's a fight-winning play right there. Well, at least it should be. That's supports traded out in the backline, so Yotes don't really have a firm pillar to stand on. It forces the Dragon Blade out of Key Gator, and more so just to make sure you can get this payload across the line, which they eventually do. 4.5 minutes, continuing with this record pace.
Yeah, and yeah, swap's got to be happening here for the Yotes. Not working right now. Danny over to the Sombra, and immediately Bozeman actually swaps as well. They'll go over to the Echo. Obviously, this third phase, a little more open for the Flyers to get some more value in. So it'll still be up to Key Gator, you know, try and keep Tweaker at bay. But now Bozeman can always be there for the follow-up as well, and kind of take advantage of these cheeky little jump spots, like kind of jump up, throw your stickies, and get out before any damage can be done.
You have to be really careful, though. There's a lot of heroes that can make Bozeman's time unfun on the Echo. Speaking of unfun, I think that's what Risk is experiencing. The hacks from the Sombra are just disruptive enough to throw off the cooldown rotation. Tweaker, though, ends up kind of face-checking Bozeman with the focusing beam. He really can't go in deep with that ability on cooldown since it completely ignores the deflect. And again, Risk is just getting too much value out of this Doomfist. I mean, it's essentially the same concept as the Wrecking Ball comp, just with a different set of heroes. Have the tank to disrupt and the rest of the team to bunker down and prepare for the dive that Yotes Blue put off. And even then, by the time you realize it, it's just a little bit too late. You're just looking at the rally from Dreamer. Danny's already dead. The only thing you're kind of close to is a downpour, but good Genji's gonna get nowhere near it in the amount of time that's needed. That is a 3-minute full cap for this team, and I'm assuming a 0-death game for Risk.
Yeah, I think that's a 0-death half for Risk. If my math is right, we'll be able to see here in just a moment. But, yeah, wow. Let's see, Risk. Yeah, the only person not to die, 19-3-0 for the Doomfist. When usually, you know, Doomfist, like, especially if you know, maybe not perfect at the character, you get punished very easily. That is not the case here for Risk. Absolutely running the lobby so far. Dreamer, only, you know, 2-2-3. Tweaker, 6-5 so far after, you know, how, you know, fantastic they were over in map 1. And I don't know. I know this was the Yotes map pick, but so far it's looking almost like it was the UNM pick.
Yeah, I mean, University of New Mexico here are just running away with it. Again, it's like the same concept as what they ran on Suravasa. Have a major disruptor in the form of the tank, which in this case is Risk's Doomfist, and have the rest of the team be like either self-sustainable enough or be able to bunker down enough so that anybody who manages to get past Risk isn't a concern. So they've managed to do that to a T here, and on the attack, mind you, which is arguably much harder to do in this specific situation. It's rare that we see Gibraltar completed this fast, since there's so many spots that are, you could often call some of the hardest spots to push past in the entire game. They are going to start Bozeman on the Venture again here, and do immediately destroy Risk's unkillable streak. So perhaps we spoke a little too soon.
I'll take the blame on that Castle Curse. You know, I'll take the blame on that one, Risk. That's on me. The next one, though, is on you. So we'll see if that ends up being true. But that opening pick, it gains the Yotes so much map control. Already complete control over Blue Box. All of the supports for UNM are still on low ground. And this is almost a near perfect start for the Yotes to have some sort of answer after that ridiculous push from UNM.
Yeah, Tweaker, though, barely managing to get out alive. But we talked about like major roadblocks on this map. This underpass is the first one. You have to find a way to not only take high ground, but move the payload from a very isolated position on the map, where you being on it is a positional disadvantage. So Risk being in a spot where you have to go, repeatedly punching people where you literally cannot go forwards. It's so difficult for the Yotes to actually get some solid high ground control. Coco does already have a nano boost, and that is something, honestly, you should just use immediately if you're able to actually get this fight going. It is a teleporter, not only guarantees the safety, but also puts Captain Kit Kat in an awkward, or rather dead, spot. You end up losing Coco, not before the nano goes out onto Dreamer, so at least one support will be alive for a bit longer, but it's just not a target that gets the value here in terms of the offense, which you really needed in that specific situation. Perhaps a little bit too much waiting to see what Risk was able to do, avoiding any cancels, and suddenly this fight is a lot scrappier than it looked like it would be at the start.
Yeah, super scrappy fight. Now, Downpour gets chalked in, trying to see if Tweaker can find some follow-up, but instead it's Dreamer with a little bit of a flail onto the other support. But now look at this!
Yep, counter rally on the other side, and TSM is just the new tank, while Risk is off doing Risk things, and that's pretty much all you can say about it. The teleporters, I will say from Danny, they've been great, but Yotes Blue, they're really struggling to close out these fights despite having great starts.
Yeah, they have these great starts, but just can't seem to finish off the job. And yes, they still have Rally. They have this Photon Barrier, the Blade soon, but this Sim hasn't really worked. It was meant to try and like help everyone TP around, try and avoid some of these dives coming in from the Doom. It just hasn't happened though. Yes, they get in these positions, but they haven't done much with it.
Nano Blade, though, that is definitely going to do something as both supports instantly sliced in half. And yeah, Yotes Blue, this push is as good as done. Only ended up really committing the rally, though, so not the end of the world. Still have a minute left to go.
Yeah, but you gotta think, 3 minutes on the time bank for UNM.
Yeah.
Even now, like, it almost feels impossible for the Yotes to have that nice of a time bank. That's even if they can get through this first phase. That's why it was so important, like we said, on how quickly they got through first phase. That is just a brilliant wall.
Fantastic.
From Kenji, and maybe opens up at least the beginning of this fight. But you need to win 2. This card's regressed so much. You can't just win 1 fight.
You really can't.
Risk, I think DC.
You might if Risk is not present.
Yeah,
An unfortunate timing, but it used all the ults of the Yotes Blue team anyways, and perhaps can get another chance on the way out. But an unfortunate turn for the University of New Mexico. But, I mean, Yotes Blue, all things considered, they did go into that with the upper hand for the most part. Yeah. So they used everything you expected them to. The fight went how it would have on paper. So, and you have another chance to contest. Not the end of the world, but it's close to it.
Yeah. As soon as you see Risk sitting there, I'm like, seeing how wild Risk has been this entire game, something ain't right. Like this is not, this ain't right. So hopefully you will get this tech issue figured out fairly quickly.
It's like with
you guys.
It's like with like a parent, and you're like listening to the kids, and you don't hear anything. And you're like, wait a minute, this isn't right.
Like something is
something's
going wrong.
Not right. If it's
there.
Quiet, it's not okay. So yeah, we'll
or just it's like the silent giggling, just like trying to hold it in. It's like,
yeah, like
something, someone messed up over there. No, something's going on. And then right now it's just the case for that. But no, honestly, this Doom comp, again, why were we on the Roadhog start? That's my thing. We've seen them be on the Wrecking Ball and play great. I was saying the Doom was banned map 1. I'm starting to think. I thought that was kind of random, but no, I guess that was a better target ban than I might have realized in the moment. Because
hey, they did their research. We like questioned.
They did do their research, yeah.
It's always like a 50-50 whether how much these teams like do they actually know each other? Are they like scouting profiles beforehand, or what kind of goes on? But like clearly they're prepping for these matches.
Oh yeah. Because, like, obviously, we only have so much time to prep. Obviously, like, I'm trying to think. We confirmed this game yesterday. I think either yesterday or Wednesday. So, we have a little bit of time to prep, but there's only so much we have available. So, we're looking at this one. Okay, Yotes, they play a lot of these games close, and obviously UNM, they're 1-1. And then we're like, oh, we got, like, Ball, Doomfist, and a Hog going on for UNM. Respect meter just skyrocketed. Especially here at D2, it's so hard to be a niche team. Yeah. Because everyone's so talented at this level. So the fact that they're still running these level of comps, and even, yes, we've seen Doomfist, and especially ball comps kind of rise a little bit in the meta, it's still a giant risk. So it's been paying off so far for UNM. And the Yotes, other than map 1, they really have not had an answer to any of it.
No, not at all. It's very rare that these things end up working out. But speaking of working out, UNM hoping that they can get back to this objective in time and Kenji and do the best to deny it. It will be actually a touch from Bozeman. Ended up using the Burrow to confirm a fight will happen. So it is 1-fight territory for the map at risk. Slept up and stuck under multiple Symmetra turrets. Both team without a tank, but with the point already capped, it does not matter the result of this fight. Yotes Blue will continue their progress through Watchpoint Gibraltar anyways.
Yeah, that is the cap, and my God, Risk, I can't dive. That TP, Danny, you placed it a little bit too close to the cart, my friend. Cart broke it very quickly. Might be a blessing in disguise. Risk just sitting there menacingly, waiting. They know this TP around the ship is coming at some point. Look at that, immediately jump up.
Yep, you gotta expect it with the Symmetra. Again, it's weird to play Symmetra on this map, but Danny is making it work very, very well, all things considered. Risk though, tried to scout it out, put some fancy footwork there. No one's a punch target as of now. Risk had to instantly pop the meteor strike though, but a sleeping target. No, again another
What a
fantastic
wall!
jagged wall. That's the second time now. Good Kenji has absolutely outbrained the members of UNM Esports Cherry by the wall. Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna matter nearly as much this time. It looked cool, but TSM's rally was just too much for the rest of the team to handle.
No, that was rad. No, that was a fantastic play from Kenji. It just doesn't work out that time. Still, UNM able to find the kills later on. And Risk, again, no fear any time they go into these fights. And that just tells you how much trust they have in TSM and Captain Kit Kat to have that healing, but Tweaker just goes hunted.
Yeah, that's the part we got with the Echo. There's a lot of characters that can shut you down pretty quick if you overstep your bounds, and that's exactly what happened. Yotes Blue are trying to close this out without really needing to use anything other than the down for, which it honestly would have been likely. Tweaker, I don't really think you needed it, but it looks, actually, no, you kind of need it. There were more people alive than I thought. It guarantees the point. You take it. It is less time bank than UNM Esports Cherry, but at least you're here to begin with, considering how first point went.
If they can finish with any time left, I think that's a win, right?
Ooh.
And I think that maybe gives them at least a subtle chance to win this map. Because obviously the odds are going to be against them in overtime regardless. At this point, a minimum of like a 2-minute advantage for UNM. But still, not out of the woods yet are UNM. And they will, you know, try and maybe lean on that duplicate here from Bozeman. Wouldn't be surprised if it just goes on a Tweaker and you like Keygator and then both go in, but instead it's the Blade.
And Nano Blade into the back line, looking for the rallying Brig, and down goes Dreamer. Yeah, exactly the combo that Keygator wanted earlier, but was denied it. So probably feels good to grab a 3K right about now. Risk is in a position of all time. Are they going to spawn camp him?
They might try a rollout here. They do have the power to punch.
Photon? Oh, that's the duplicate. I was so confused. Okay. A duplicated photon barrier. Risk looking for an angle. Unsuspecting Ana, but no!
They
Threads the
missed.
needle. Oh, that's tragedy. If you're playing football, that'd be fantastic. But unfortunately, Risk, wrong esport/sport. I don't really know where I was going with that.
This is not Madden.
It is not. Yotes Blue, though, are very happy with how this is going. It was a great attempt. It was creative, sure, but now Yotes Blue knocking on Cherry's door.
The one upside is that, yes, they can at least have another contest because they were holding so far up. And look who is back on the Roadhog here for this final stall. Rally here for TSM. Downpour from
Got a
Kenji.
touch.
Should maybe just keep everyone at bay.
Down? Yeah, it grabs Bozeman completely out of the sky. That's both DPS down, but with good Kenji out of the fight, perhaps there's a chance, but it's 0.07 meters that are remaining, and a full-charged Danny is absolutely terrifying stare in the face. Not even Risk can out-heal that. Somehow, some way, the Yotes are going to pull through and give themselves another swing at this point, but it nearly quadrupled the time bank on the side of UNM.
Yeah, nearly a 3-minute advantage here for UNM going into overtime. So the Yotes, they got to dig deep. They got to find something here as Tweaker, 12 deaths so far. My goodness, very easily leads the lobby in deaths so far, but also leads their team at least to eliminations. It's who else? It's Risk. 33 and 7 and 6 with 13k damage so far for the Doomfist, and it's been working spectacularly. And they will actually not go back to the Doomfist. There will be defense here, and I think they understand because of the little time bank that the Yotes have. They will have to play around cart more than they probably want to. Usually when you have so much time here on this map, you want to play around the high grounds and usually just have maybe your Tracer, your Genji, whatever, on the point to let it go through when the rest of your team's taking high ground. They don't have that time luxury here, the Yotes, and UNM know it.
They don't. I mean, I would like it a lot more if it wasn't with the Ana Brig. I feel like if you're going to commit to the bit, like you got to fully commit, and the Ana Brig is not fully committed. It's very diveable for Tweaker and Kenji, and now it's easier to access them since they're going to be on the high ground, likely by themselves, unless they just. Where did Risk even come from? How in the world did he manage to set that up? Okay, I'm sorry I ever doubted this team. That was cool.
That was perfectly timed.
Wow.
Like, that was timed to absolute perfection here for UNM. And that's a mini fight right there. And yes, you get 20 meters, but they're going to try and hold now on this corner because it makes Yotes on their defense, if it is held here, to do the same thing. And that just puts UNM in such a phenomenal position. So yeah, wow, they're not even going to try and hold high ground too aggressively. They're just chilling by point.
They are. Yotes had a little bit of time to just jump at the back line while Risk had zero way of actually getting to them, which you're going to do now, but there's 8 seconds on the clock, and the rest of your team can't get there. Risk, though, antied up 50 HP, does grab a health pack, but again, completely isolated and beaten into and stuffed into the locker, into the back corner there. It kind of what you expected from the Malga comp. You can't get your support to Malga that you needed, but it is one fight territory with overtime burden.
Yeah, one fight territory here. The Yotes don't even have anything remotely close. Everyone's about halfway. Maybe Tweaker is able to build up a blade. Coco could have a nano for it as well, but it's going to be a lot just on the neutral here. UNM don't have anything too soon. Bullet shot made from Bozeman. Need some extra damage in, but overall, this is going to be pretty vanilla.
Yep, and it's, again, back to the problem. Your supports don't have a tank by them. Your supports don't have the same DPS by them to keep them safe. And Yotes Blue are absolutely aware of it. At the second time now, they're just going to start it off by taking the lives of both supports. And this should just be a first point capture. Already a massive win, considering the small time bank the Yotes had.
Yeah, considering the abysmal time mix after when the door animation changed there for a second, my heart dropped. I thought they got off. First, I don't know why that felt like a round end view for a moment there, but and now the Yotes, because like I said, no ultimates used during that. Nano Blade available with the downpour potentially as setup.
But they're gonna Nano Blade before they can get the good combo off. That's both supports dead. Again, thanks to Tweaker. A triple kill, in fact, for the Genji. Risk fails through, manages to treat Danny and Coco like bowling pin, sure, but that doesn't end up mattering. UNM, that's another fight that they ended up losing. Now it's on their one ultimate combo.
And the Yotes are forced to use Rally there because of the fact that Coco and Danny both die. Just making sure, hey, we got to make sure we stay up in some sort of fashion, but still, another near perfect fight here for the Yotes. Now Downpour will be used to delay the touch.
Yeah, it delays it, sure, but I mean, there's cage fight on the point, but you can't use the death boss, and the deflect was in the face of Keygator. Oh, this might be too little too late, but TSM coming in at the right time. The Nano Boost thrown onto Risk. All eggs into the basket of this fight because it simply has to be, and eventually UNM will draw the line, but that line was meters and meters away from where it ideally could have been. Yotes Blue made the most of the opportunity.
No, the Yotes absolutely took advantage of that opportunity because of the fact that we were talking about, you know, with only a minute before overtime triggers here, it's so difficult because this map already, first phase, takes fights and fights and fights to normally win out. But because of the fact that UNM, they take the gamble, they run the Maga straight off rip, try to play more on point. The Yotes kind of, like you said, just ignore it. Like, all right, we're going to dive onto your backline. And we're going to make, you know, your backline of TSM and Captain Kit Kat really hate you for this decision. And it's exactly what they did. And all of a sudden, this is no guarantee here for UNM. Yes, they have 3 minutes more, basically, than what the Yotes had. But this is definitely not over. They still need to take advantage of their opportunities. And that's why Risk, yeah, they're not going to mess around. They're going right back to the Doomfist.
Yeah, this feels a lot better. I don't think you can catch them off guard nearly as much and get the same snowball from this point. But I think it was overall more consistent in terms of the results that they did end up getting compared to that with the Malga, and less risky, no pun intended. So, Yotes Blue, though, I'm still on this Symmetra, can bunker down very easily with this tank, has a lot of setup for the team, but we'll see what they're able to do. Bozeman, maybe back to the Venture that we saw earlier on in the game. Yeah, so back to that Venture. Yeah, it's going to be slow burn with the Farah this time, the only difference.
And there's no hit scan, right? Unless you want to maybe count Coco. So Tweaker will maybe have to do a lot instead of trying to help out their tank or trying to find these flanks. They're having to deal with the Farah, which is already an issue.
Yeah, that is the last person that you wanted to go down there. Thankfully, the rest of Yotes Blue are far enough back where they really can't get staggered that much. So UNM Esports have plenty of time. Okay, I take that back.
As you were
Danny
saying, yeah.
Danny was not there. I take that back.
Well, a little cast of curse. We're even now, at least, on the day. But no, Yotes, yeah, that was just that completely fell apart. Danny now over to the S. Like, hey, this far, this ain't it. This gotta get figured out. But I just gotta figure out a touch, and they should at least be able to have one.
Bozeman's scaring me by not going to the ground. There we go. All right. Venture is okay for at least the next 5 seconds. Further about that, can't quite say the same. Coco, though, and they took care of the Pharah, putting a lot more focus into that, but they're kind of ignoring a lot of the other alpha threats that are going on, which is still this Venture who managed to live through all that chaos, between 30 HP and anti. 2.5 minutes still to go here. I mean, this is exactly the concern that we had with this high of a time bank from UNM.
Because now it's at least okay if you lose a few fights. Like, yeah, you lose a fight or two, oh well. You know, as long as the Yotes use ultimates, it's not a net negative by any means. So this is, yeah, perfect spot for UNM to close this map out, bring themselves to a 2-1 advantage. What a nice little punch there from Risk, just knocks everybody off the top of ship, makes them rotate out. And they've already given up on the far counters. It's Danny now on the Echo.
I mean, the Echo still unfun, but I don't think it's really gonna matter. Bozeman is tearing it up on this Venture. Nano Boost goes on to the Brig, as a matter of fact, so it's a lot more stability on the defensive side. And if U2 can get at least a partial stop here, this is, again, the hardest spot for UNM to have to get through.
Yeah, this is going to be where it's decided. A minute and a half left. Yotes holding strong. Obviously, massive ship control now. Rally is almost online, so is the downpour, but Sherry. Again, this barrage, nano potentially combo. They have, you know, nano and tectonic shock. Like, they have so many options here at their disposal, but instead, it's got to make sure they live off the focusing beam.
I mean, Keygator will be okay. The rest of the team, I don't know if I can say the same for. Tweaker, that's a 2K for hit. Even shutting down the tank here. This is looking pretty good. You end up committing the duplicate. It's not fantastic, but you do what you gotta do to make sure that you can win the fight. A stagger on a support would be great, but it'll be the shield of TSM keeping Kit Kat up.
Now Keygator, all right. The Pharah experiment was fun, but it's time to swap. And Risk will also go off of the Doom Fist here.
Whoa!
For this final fight or two. That is a major gamble here, Molly, with only 30 seconds to go.
Risk playing a reasonable hero. What day is this? Oh boy. Downpour, that didn't do a whole lot of anything. Maybe that's why you swapped to the Diva, to make sure you can just munch that up. It'll be a sleep dart though on the Kenji, having a very hard time getting away. Look how low the health bars Yotes Blue are. Tweaker going down just before the Dragon Blade was online. This is starting to look rather dicey for the defense. UNM are looking so good towards this end, and Bozeman in particular grabbing both supports. That to just about do it. Tweaker back on his feet, sure, but Dragon Blade against the world. It is not a good day to be the Genji. UNM Esports Cherry gonna squeak it out after a banger of Watch Point Gibraltar and move up to match point.
Absolute banger here for UNM. And the Yotes, man, they almost had that comeback. They almost did it, but just cannot finish the job. UNM go 2-1 up here in the series. And here we go. This was that beautiful nano blade slicing and dicing on the ship, acting like there's an alien in there or something. But no, that just perfect here from UNM. And now for Yotes, got to win 2 in a row, which on paper, like, oh, it's only 2 games in a row. You know, UNM just did that. Yeah. And yes, one will get to be your map pick, but you have to do exactly what UNM just did, and also win one of the other team's map picks, which that most of the time can be where a lot of these teams get tricked up. Is that, you know, you win your map pick, you're feeling all great, and then you go to their map pick and you're just like, oh no.
Yeah, which understandably, it's not typically the map picks are either a combination of I really like it here, the enemy team doesn't really like it here, or this map is just fun. So between those 3 factors, it's some combination of that. So we'll have to see which one it actually ends up being. If anything, I think the concern is more, okay, we are now a little more worried that this Wrecking Ball is back. We know the Doomfist isn't an option for the team if we do decide to try to take away from the Wrecking Ball comp again. Like, where do you go? Because I'm like getting flashbacks to Suravasa and how much of a
Yeah.
nightmare that was for UCSD to actually play on. So when they think about where they're gonna go now, like what is good? Like you can't really. Tracer's gonna be back. That's something. Tweaker can try to do that, but Tweaker
Yeah.
couldn't do anything against a symmetric cast Brig Kiriko. That's just not. That's not fun, right?
It's not fair at all. Like,
Mm-mm.
there's so much CC for Tweaker to have to deal with, whether it be they're on the Genji, they're on the Tracer, or whatever. Even the Sombra that they were trying to run, not Tweaker, obviously, but
Yeah.
where the team was trying to run, just none of it worked. It all got shut up because the answer and the level of CC on the other side is just so insane here from UNM. But obviously, yeah, a lot of power now in the hands of the Yotes to try and play for their first win of the season. Obviously,
Yeah.
they lost week 2, 3-2. They've played, that very close game. Like, we have no idea what in the world happened against CSUDH. But in their one played game that we know for sure this season, it was a very close game. So I wonder if there's a little bit of that anxiety in the back of their head, like, man, can we just not close out these close games in series? Like, what is going on right now? And they got to try and prove that to themselves if they can.
And honestly, I think this is a team that can be very affected by hero bans. So once
Yeah.
you get later into the series, I think that burden lightens a lot because those compositions, like the later you go, the bigger chunks of the comp that you like are now confirmed to be available, and you're
Yeah.
not fearing having to play without the component. So as we're like map 4, map 5, we're pretty much in that territory where I can't think of a ban that is going to completely destroy a team at this point, right? And I think we're moving past that. There's things that can hurt for sure, but it's not going to be the end of the world. This series is over, kind of deal.
Yeah, unless maybe like a Brig ban comes out, because that's been a lot of
Yeah.
what UNM has been running. You just kind of wonder what is the change, whether it be, they run a Wuyong or they run a Kiriko instead. Because there has been a lot of Brig Ana today for UNM. So I'm not sure if the Yotes would maybe take that kind of shots. They've also played a lot of the similar backlines, so it's not like it's very one-sided in that matter. Both teams have kind of been running the same thing. But yeah, this will get a little bit interesting here for the Yotes, depending on where they decide to go. Obviously, what do we got left? We got Hybrid and I'm trying to think what the last one
Hybrid
was.
and push.
Push. So I don't know here. I wonder if you just try and like force like a lot of the hazard more than anything else, because
Yeah.
you've seen their hazard comps work really well. It's just against this Doomfist, it's tricky.
Yeah, then it is not fun to play Hazard into Doomfist. You leap in,
Nope.
Doomfist is nope. I guess
It's like,
it's not
bye.
enjoyable. No, you're just return to sender instantly. So it's not comfortable, but it's more so. At what point is it actually that we can't play our comps, or are we trying too hard to work against
theirs? Yeah.
kind of deal? Like there is a fine line with that, and that is definitely a weakness of some teams. I don't really see it in this case as much, that we're trying to swap too much that it's actually hurting more than it's helping. I'm just afraid that we could eventually get to that point. In terms of maps, though, I'm kind of back to the point of I would prefer a hybrid map be picked here, unless you're very confident in a particular push map, because hybrid, you can either it's a lot more set in stone about what is good on that specific architecture, versus a push where it's relatively close of what says goes. Things can work better than others, but it's not like it's not this or that. It's not black or white. There is gray area that you can work with there. Again, I said that last time, and you saw how that turned out. We ended up in a very fun map of Esperanza, which was a great map of Esperanza. I wouldn't hate seeing push. It is a fun map, and I think it would work really well for this Hazard Tracer comp that I'm assuming we're going to see kind of come back, and even favor this Symmetra from Danny that has had some decent success, even though they haven't had the full results.
We've been corrected. They can only pick push. So I wonder. So it's not Esperanza, I would say, because that's gonna be a Ball's Heaven. There's so many lanes to where the wrecking ball can work on Esperanza. So that would be my only thing. But Rudasapi, you could argue the same thing, right? Like Rudasapi. Oh man, this could get a little tricky now for the Yotes because it's the better of evils here.
Yeah, there's a lot of evil that can go on in these maps. It's great for Doom. It's great for Ball. It's great for Cass. It's great for Sim. It's great for Tracer. Have fun. Yeah, I don't think there's Runasapi and more so Runasapi. I think is the map that you could pick that everybody would be happy with. Esperanza, I'd favor like a Hazard comp a little bit more, but like outside of that, those two tend to be more popular because they have more a greater variety of options that work comfortably. So that's where we're going to assume or go. I don't think a new Queen Street is in the cards today unless you're like feeling specifically chaotic, which Risk I think is the definition of chaos. So we could do it. But
yeah, I was like justice for New Queen Street. I don't know. I adore the map.
Really?
Does it have flaws? Absolutely it has flaws.
Okay, as long as you can admit that.
But I won't lie. I have a ton of fun. It's basically ARAM, but for
you did not just make a League of Legends reference. You don't even play League of Legends. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, of all people who hate, I hate that game.
Whoa!
But
That's crazy.
Hey, my brain just can't do it. My brain just can't do it.
You can do Overwatch, but not League of Legends.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, coming from somebody who's only played Overwatch, I started playing League like a couple months ago. That game is like my relax game. Like I play that when I want to like not think and I want to decompress. That's what I do.
Play that game.
But Overwatch is so much happening.
No, that's when you pull out a mobile game. You pull out a card game on your phone, or
that's not stimulating enough.
Oh my! Then you up the graphics on the card game. You have music going on in the background. Maybe you play your favorite sitcom going on in the background. I don't know. Bozeman will stay in here for UNM as we argue about other game titles.
Kit Kat take. Kit Kat take. Haha. Judging by the position, I'm just guessing. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's the case. Which, yeah, with it being push, I don't know if there's even a push ramp that's necessarily bad for Wrecking Ball or Doom. There's obviously a few, like you said. I think Esperanza is definitely in the better end.
They did it!
Justice for New Queens, baby!
No.
Yes!
No way.
Yes! I think this maybe goes in favor of the Hazard a little more. It's just less high ground for the Wrecking Ball to use. And the few high grounds, especially in mid, are so narrow. The ball has to be so perfect in kind of their movement and their pathing to make it all work. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan not just because I love the map, but I think it could actually work here for the Yotes. But if it doesn't, let it be.
It does work. Yeah. Well, let's see. We banned. Okay. Wooyoung. We haven't really seen Wooyoung this series.
I can see it working here because again, it's very long and you can just whip those things around corners. The Cassidy ban for UNM makes total sense. It's like, all right, Risk and Captain Crunch, do your thing.
Captain Crunch.
Just go have fun. Oh my god,
You just call him Captain Crunch. It's Captain Kit Kat. We had a whole conversation before this series, by the way, about candy and Kit Kats because we saw Captain Kit Kat's name. I cannot believe you just did that.
I blame working third shift. I don't believe that's.
Be hungry for Kit Kats then. Man, Kit Kats are great.
Dude, Kit Kats are very good. Kit Kats are elite Halloween candy. Let us know, by the way, in chat. Like, when you were younger, what's the ideal Halloween candy that you were looking for? I am gonna go back and probably look for a few ideas, but I don't know. For me, it was either Twix or Kit Kat. Like those were, or maybe even like good. Three Musketeers were sneaky good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
No, that's kind of like a hot one. I don't know.
That's up there. I think that's up there in terms of hot takes. Another hot take: Risk Soldier 76.
I like it. I have been brought to the light of Soldier 76 on this map.
No!
I have seen it work more than I would like, but it has actually worked out really well. Shout out Northeastern, I think, was the one team that really showed me how this all works. But No, I think it genuinely can't work. You just have Risk running around like a lunatic, trying to, you know, capitalize on some of the damage from Captain Kit Kat. Or for now, just go on an absolute manhunt of Tweaker.
Boastman and Risk just went Tweaker hunting. That's exactly what just happened.
Oh,
that was
God.
fantastic to watch, especially from Tweaker's perspective. Oh boy.
That
Yeah,
made the season highlight reel.
That was great. That was great. And honestly, I think that is a true testament to how the series has gone post map 1, at least for Tweaker. And the entirety of UNM Esports Cherries existed to have the Tracer not exist, and there's just so little that you can do about it. Because not only do you now have this Wrecking Ball to worry about, but the flanking Lucio and Soldier, and then Keygator doing Keygator things like getting a triple kill.
Yeah, I can't get over that initial scene of Tweaker getting absolutely hunted during the beginning. And already, so Tom's like, all right, I need to be able to fight back a little bit more. Let me load up the Genji. I think is that the G.I. Joe skin as well. Respect. But already, look at this. Captain Kit Kat up on high ground disrupts everybody and forces the early dive in from Kenji.
Kenji. Yeah, okay, there you go. That's something, but they do actually catch Risk off this time. So no sneaky flanks. It worked the first time, but only once, not again. So yeah, that's a couple supports that are down, and while Captain Kit Kat doesn't really care about having supports or not, the rest of his team certainly does care at least a little bit about that. So the robot will be flipped back around while the rest of the team resets.
Yeah, rest of the team resets, and Captain Kit Kat's almost just scouting. Be like, hey, this is where everybody's at. We'll do a little damage here and there. Try and sell at this point. Ever so slightly is now. Everybody's kind of turning towards Risk. Like, yo, brother, you need to chill. Like, just relax a little bit, and Tweaker gets some revenge.
Yeah, I don't think Tweaker's gonna go anywhere now without holding Dreamer's hand.
Nope.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Genji and Lucio, that's typically what you expect when you think of a Lucio flanking with somebody. But no, we are back to Risk. Tactical visor in hand this time, so quite literally cannot miss. And yeah, there you go. It is a 2-for-1 with good Kenji and Coco, arguably the two most stable components of Yotes hitting the deck. And yeah, UNM gonna hit so much space.
You cannot die here if you're a Dreamer. It is just a reminder to you, you cannot die here. Nice little disposition there. But nothing to follow up on. But now the mines can be used, but Downpour instead just silences Captain Kit Kat for the moment.
Yeah, and the rest of the team. That was actually a huge downpour. That hit almost everybody, by the way. Yeah, okay, that was pretty big. Okay, that's a hard ultimate to get value out of. So, good Kenji. Good for you, buddy.
At first, I'm like, oh, cool, I got the Wrecking Ball. And then you look at the kill feed like, oh, no, it got a whole lot more than just the Wrecking Ball. And Yotes Blue, they will take full advantage. Look at this. Very aggressive positioning here. Just trying to delay any of these early setups from UNM, considering, you know, the ult advantage, but Tweaker has the blade.
That's a fantastic Suzu timing. It actually made sure the sound barrier went off. It just didn't last nearly long as it needed to. So yeah, UNM still down on their main source of healing here. Robot is at a standstill right now towards midpoint. Meanwhile, all this chaos is going on, and Captain Kit Kat is, well, just kind of playing with his food, honestly. That was Coco until she decided to dip on out. Keygator, though, pulled the blade. No support on it, by the way. Still managed to pull off a 2K. So UNM Esports Cherry, Chaos, the name of the game for this comp, and Yotes Blue, you're just automatically on the back foot.
I'm guessing Keygator maybe had like the lifesteal on blade swings, maybe? Because like you said, there was no support in sight when he popped that. So that a little bit of a risk, but it worked out that time in the kick. Captain Kit Kat. Just up on high ground, trying to take out Dreamer, who has the beat. They just don't Ajax. Okay.
Oh, well, they can't Ajax if they're dead, so that's something. Risk made sure. I guess it is the benefit of the Soldier 76. You can't really just fly across the map as you please, as any character. UNM Esports Cherry should get the forward spawns off of this, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Yeah, everyone on Yotes Blue is dead and gone with, so that's point caps, and still about half the point to go.
Yeah, this is, look at this Captain Kit Kat. Just an absolute moonshot of a grapple. And UNM, again, yeah, 60 meters now. And this, yeah, I think, yo, they gotta win something, but okay.
No way.
Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah, it's just the life of a wrecking ball player. Do what you want as you please, and my team is gonna lock in behind them. And Risk is like incredibly the most locked in you could possibly be. Is Risk? Risk though is dead. Unfortunate considering the tactical visor. Dreamer did give it enough respect and avoided the Ajax to prevent it. UNM though still have the forward spawns active, and because they managed to stall the robot for that long, most of them should be able to get those forward spawns, except for TSM. In fact, actually the robot is still moving forward, so there's actually no progress that has been gained throughout this because of how long Risk has managed to just stay alive.
Yeah, Risk and Captain Kickout have just been doing shifts over by the point to make sure it doesn't move. And it forced out even a blade from Tweaker. He gets taken out. This is still a 4v4.
I don't think that they're gonna win it though, because UNM's calm. They just get back faster, no? Like,
yeah.
They're kind of just always up in this fight, or at least always have somebody to stop this robot from moving. It is near impossible, unless you team wipe, to get them past or even near where they need the robot to be right now. I mean, another minefield in play that Captain KitKat's been holding on to for when it's needed the most. Kenji's just fighting his own battle off against Bozeman, trying to stall the rest of the squishies, but if Captain KitKat stalled the progress, you have the lead. It doesn't matter how many elims you end up getting if you can't move the objective anywhere.
And the fact that everybody still has advanced spawns. Advanced spawns still active. That's why you see Kitsune Rush now used, and now people just get melted in the front. Keygator going in with the blade, and all of that. What, 2 minutes of fighting plus, and it's still UNM half forward spawns, and now they will continue pushing on. That has got to be demoralizing here for the Yotes. You have basically 2 fight wins, and you can't get anything done because of this man right here.
No, it is still, again, it's the life of a wrecking ball player. They live for things like this. It's fun, it's chaotic, it makes the enemy team rage. Although, you are down 2, so that's a great start. But we've seen this before. Can they manage to close out these fights? It's so difficult to actually nail down this hamster until you can turn a full team there, which I believe that's actually 4 elims, though, for the Yotes Blue, leaving only Captain KitKat. That's just going to be what it's going to take to get the team, though.
But again, look at this. Still just running through the health packs, knowing exactly where they all are, and just trying to stall this out. And again, there's no massive stun for the Yotes. There's not much they can really do.
No, not really. I mean, you're just kind of stuck here and having to accept your fate at that. Risk yet another flanking tactical visor that forces a sound barrier. And that's not an ultimate that you really want to have to use a sound barrier for, to be totally honest with you. And Risk is just making it work. It was a walking laser, rather a sprinting laser, I guess, if you're Soldier 76. Minefield built up for the second time in 2 fights at a Captain KitKat. Snags Coco as yet another elim, and Risk is just going to go ahead and take this payload right on back to where it was.
Oh my god. The fact, okay, they do flip spawns, right? So events, we're in neutral spawns right now, but that'll only be for a few more seconds as Danny gets a consolation. Well, kills, I guess both supports gone. Now for UNM, but you act like they care. They're gonna get the advanced spawns, and they're just gonna back up. Or Risk is going to take a little bit of a field trip.
I think Risk has been permanently on a field trip.
Yeah, no, that's the kid when you go to the zoo that's on their own itinerary. Like, they're just having such a great time.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what's happening. Like, even Captain KitKat almost seems surprised, like, oh, Risk, what are you doing here, buddy?
Like, what are you doing
look
here,
where the
man?
robot is right now. Look where the robot is compared to where we just saw Risk getting set up. Jesus sprint like a whole 2 miles back to the objective. While this continues to happen, Kitsune rushes are exchanged on the objective, and Risk is on a flank that killed 2. Nobody has managed to lock down the Soldier 76.
Oh my god.
This is just insane work out of UNM Esports, Cherry.
What did I say? Huh? What did I say? Soldier on this map can cook. Other than this map, is Soldier a very subpar hit scan? Yes.
I don't know if it's Soldier or if it's just like Risk being Risk. That was Risk being Risk.
You know what? I can take that argument. That is completely fair.
Alright, well, Tweaker did pull a Dragon Blade and everyone just pooped out of existence in front of him, so unfortunate. Keygator, seeing if he'll have any bet with it, doesn't seem to be the case. The sound barriers on either side make it rather hard to use a blade that's more like a wet pool noodle. 3 seconds left to go, though. A touch has to happen, and with Tweaker going down here, Yotes Blue literally have nothing in the tank except a pulse bomb for this team, and Bozeman is cleaning house right now with the rest of this team. UNM Esports, Cherry, that was an incredibly fun match for them, and I'm sure they were sweating it towards the end there. 3-1 victory and what we think to be their first win of their Division 2 season.
Second. They beat Sac State.
Second win, excuse me.
But still, honestly, maybe making a little bit of a case for themselves here. This is such a hard team to just kind of get ready for and prep for. They have so many different looks you have to worry about. Like, oh, they're running Hog. Oh, they run Malra, but they also run Ball. They also run Doom, and they have 2 players who rotate tank. And they have so many different DPS lineups that they can run. It's just so hard for anybody to really have any sort of game plan for this team. And I feel bad for the Yotes because they had, I think, a game plan, but weren't able to match the 4 different game plans that really got thrown at them by UNM, and they take full advantage of it. And now UNM, they'll play SFU Raccoons next week. The Yotes, they'll play Sac State, another team that's kind of been struggling a little bit so far here in Division 2, so maybe that is the opportunity, but you feel bad for the Yotes. Obviously, a 3-2 loss already. This is a 1-3 loss. And it's not like they're getting smoked, right? As weird as some of these maps were, they're not getting smoked, but it'll have to be at least another week until they get that first dub.
Yeah, not quite. And it did, like, think back to map 1, that wasn't super close. So
yeah, no, they
there
looked
are
great.
there are really good looks from this team. Tweaker in particular had some very good highlights of gameplay. This is just one of those things you can't prepare for. And I say this so often that I honestly think it's almost worse at this level of gameplay to be slaves to the meta. Unless you are like the pro, like OWCS, maybe top face it here. I don't really see why are we doing this to yourselves? Make it difficult to prepare for you. Make it something that can work unless something's ridiculously overpowered. Like, these are the kind of things that I think UNM have really found to work for them so far. And they have a large roster. They have a flexible roster that
Very
can
flexible
move around
roster.
roles, which is, again, another uncommon thing. So, and this team has a lot of very good things going for them. And I am excited to see for the future of both of them. Because within Division 2 in particular, these are the teams that we're kind of looking that are on the rise, that continue to make names for themselves in the collegiate scene.
Yeah, no, they really are the next ones up, and I wouldn't be shocked if we're talking about UNM. I'm very curious how they'll do in Homecoming. Obviously, not everybody's playing in it, but I think it's like 270 teams or something crazy like that. So I'm very curious, but like, this is just such an impossible team to prep for. Like, you telling me I have to prep for like 3 to 4 different comps? I have to prep for like a ball extraordinaire with a soldier rollout on New Queen Street. Like, it's just, it's so weird. But honestly, it works. It works to perfection, and that's what got UNM now to 2-1.
Yeah. And hey, good for them, honestly. And I do hope that we can continue to see more of this very fun gameplay going forward. I always like looking at like Divisions 2 and 3 are some of my favorite, because it's organized enough that it's like it's coherent and it's cool. You can see some cool stuff. But then it also has this little bit of chaos that's kind of thrown into the mix. And it's so much fun. So much fun to watch every week. So thank you to both of our teams that ended up going over it. So we will have to go ahead and wait for next week, though, for more NECC Esports action, which is very sad, but not too sad, because it's only 2 days off, people, because you can mark your calendars. We have a lot of games next week. We have Valorant Monday, Marvel Rivals Tuesday, Rocket League Wednesday, Rainbow Six Wednesdays as well, League of Legends Thursdays, and of course our personal favorites, and maybe yours too, Overwatch Fridays to come out. So we will see you all of next week for more NECC collegiate action. Thank you, Extron, Wenzels, and By Blue Light for supporting NECC as our sponsors for all of our broadcasts today. But that's going to go ahead and do it for week number 3 of NECC. We'll go ahead. Week 4 starts again bright and late. I don't know, early. It's not early. May Sports is never early. It's in the evening on Monday. So be there. We will see you then. Have a good one, everybody.
How does it feel? How does it feel? feel tonight.